Chapter 103. Enduring the dizziness, Xiao Yi left the scene. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. They were really afraid that Xiao Yi would kill someone. On the way back, Xiao Yi couldn't endure it anymore and vomited blood. After eating a few medicinal pills, he felt a bit better and found a water source to wash his face. He didn't want his wives to worry. Even though he had wiped off the bloodstains, he still exuded a sickly aura, as if he was about to die. After returning to the Xiao mansion, Xiao Yi was in a daze. It was as if he could faint at any moment, as if he was drunk. The 6 wives sat in the front hall, anxiously waiting for their husbands to return. When they saw their husbands stumbling over, the wives immediately went forward to support them. "Brother Xiao, what's wrong? Where are you hurt?" Nangong Sini's expression changed greatly. This was the first time she saw Xiao Yi so weak. "Sini, hurry up and support Brother Xiao. Let me see." The woman who spoke was precisely Xu Nan. Her medical skills were outstanding, and back then, she also fell in love with Xiao Yi's medical skills. Xiao Yi replied weakly, "I'm fine." "Hold him down," Xu Nan said in a tender voice. She placed her delicate hand on her husband's wrist, and her expression immediately changed. It was too heavy. It was already a miracle that he was still alive. "Xu Nan, how is Brother Xiao?" Yu Qi asked hurriedly. Xiao Yi gave Xu Nan a look. Xu Nan sighed. "Brother Xiao is fine. He will be fine after a few days of rest." However, in his heart, he was afraid that he would not recover even after a few years of rest. But the other wives would rather believe this result. In Long and City's midnight snack stall, Wei Chang and Tang Wei sat at the side of a small table, eating skewers. Tang Wei told Wei Chang about the interesting things that happened when she was young, and Wei Chang listened attentively and drank a mouthful of beer from time to time. Instantly, Wei Chang frowned. "Uncle Wei, do you feel uncomfortable?" Wei Chang smiled. "Maybe I drank too much cold beer. I'm going to the toilet." "Uncle Wei, I told you not to drink too much ice. Let me help you over." "Xiao Tang, your Uncle Wei, I'm not that weak. Just sit here and wait for me." Wei Chang pressed Tang Wei down, and the moment he turned around, his face was extremely black. Death Mage actually died. How was this possible? After walking into the toilet inside the supper stall, Wei Chang closed the door and said in a deep voice, "Evil Spirit Death Mage." A black vortex appeared on the ground. The black robe, the scythe of death with the smell of death appeared once again. Of course, there was also the skeleton. "Master!" Death Mage shouted out with deep regret, and prepared to greet Yi Hua. Wei Chang shouted in a low voice, "All right, stop kneeling. The ground is very dirty." "What's going on? I told you to collect a debt and kill someone. How did you end up killing yourself?" Wei Chang was unable to understand. Death Mage's strength was not weak. Even if he couldn't defeat Death Mage, he should still be able to run away. Yet he was actually killed by someone. "Master, I'm suffering too." "Master, it is Subordinate who has underestimated the enemy, and has brought shame to his honor and master. Let Subordinate complete this mission, and then use my death to atone for my sins." To be honest, Death Mage didn't want to be summoned by his master again. It was too shameful. This was what it meant to be reckless. He lost completely because of his recklessness. Wei Chang's mood wasn't very good either. If his honor were to know that there was such a process in the mission this time around, I wonder what kind of rage his honor would have. Wei Chang seemed to have already heard his honor's curses. "Enough, I don't want to listen to your explanation. You better keep this matter to yourself. If this matter were to be spread out, the first person that I will kill is you. Who would dare to talk about such a shameful matter to others? Just how shameful would that be?" "Master, be at ease. Subordinate will keep my mouth shut." Wei Chang paused for a moment, then asked while wrinkling his brows, "Is that Xiao Yi really that powerful? Even you are not his match?" "Master, that Xiao Yi is indeed not bad. He is the strongest human that Subordinate has ever seen. However, Subordinate did not lose to him. Rather, Subordinate lost to him." Death Mage said embarrassedly, "This is all because Master's requirements are too high. I can't kill Xiao Yi. I can only cripple Xiao Yi. Controlling Xiao Yi is very difficult." Wei Chang couldn't help but slap onto Death Mage's skull. "Who did you learn this kind of conduct from? I will give you one last chance. If you are still unable to complete this mission, then you will have to stay in purgatory forever. I will obey Master's command. Death Mage held back a stomach full of anger. This damned human actually caused me to be reprimanded by Master. If it wasn't for Master only ordering me to kill one person, I would have definitely slaughtered all of them. Go. Seeing that subordinate had disappeared, Wei Chang rubbed onto the bridge of his nose. In the end, didn't his honor still lose because of being reckless? Sigh, which of the 7 sins isn't reckless? In actuality, Death Mage can't be blamed, his understanding of human nature is too little. Perhaps it is time for him to find a girlfriend. Death Mage expressed that I am not interested in women, I am only interested in balls. Knock knock knock. Uncle Wei, is your diarrhea very bad? I bought medicine for you just now. Tang Wei knocked on the door and shouted out tenderly. Hearing Tang Wei's voice, Wei Chang, who had a bad temper, gradually relaxed. Opening the door, Wei Chang smiled and said, Xiao Tang, I am fine now. Uncle Wei, why does your complexion look so bad? Let me bring you to the hospital. Tang Wei touched onto Wei Chang's cheek and said with concern. Wei Chang held onto Tang Wei's small hand. There is no need to go to the hospital, I will send you back first. Are you really fine? Tang Wei was still very worried. Wei Chang pinched onto Tang Wei's nose. I am fine. When Death Mage arrived at the scene of the accident, once again he discovered that the damned human had disappeared, and his phone was destroyed as well. Death Mage was simply about to go crazy. That is an Apple X that I bought while enduring the pain in my heart. Not only does this damned human want to pay me back 50 billion and a human life, he also wants to pay me back my Apple X. After finished speaking, Death Mage disappeared from where he was, and arrived at the entrance of Xiao residence. The 2 security guards were stupefied at the front hall. Xu Nan was currently helping Xiao Yi bandage up his external injuries. Xiao Yi's internal injuries could only be slowly nursed back to health. Cinny, I will be going into closed-door training soon, and I won't be able to accompany you and Yun, or to register for the tournament tomorrow. Xiao Yi said gravely. After going through this battle, Xiao family will definitely reach new heights. However, I have to recover my strength as soon as possible. Nangong Cinny said concernedly. Brother Xiao, you can go into closed-door training with a peace of mind. I will take care of the matters at home. And with you two here, I can be at ease. Xiao Yi stretched out his hand and touched onto his beloved wife's cheek, and doting could be seen within his gaze. Meanwhile, Nangong Cinny was enjoying her husband's caress very much. Jijiji. Immediately, a strange sound transmitted into the front hall. The tender expression on Xiao Yi's face froze, and the 6 wives turned their heads and looked towards the entrance. Sickle. Black robe. It was a strange sound. Death Mage walked towards the front hall step by step, and stopped when he was 5 meters away from the front hall. The atmosphere in the front hall immediately froze. Xiao Yi looked at Death Mage, who was walking towards him foolishly, and his mind was in a daze. Didn't I turn Death Mage into powder? How long has it been since then? Why did Death Mage come out again? Or could it be that Death Mage has a brother? GGG. Imperial translation. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Xiao Yi couldn't be any more familiar with this kind of sound. Why did Death Mage come back to life? Why is it like this? In order to kill Death Mage, I paid a painful price. Why did Death Mage come back to life in an instant? No, this isn't fair. The heavens aren't fair. Chapter 104. Death Mage stood there woodenly and didn't make any movements. It was as if he was a relative or friend who had come to visit him. However, everyone present knew that he didn't come with good intentions. Xiao Yi's wives knew that they weren't a match for this monster, but they still protected him. If he wanted to die, he would kill them first. If Lai Gu was here, he would definitely take Xiao Yi in and train him well. Lai Gu wasn't a picky eater, and furthermore, all of Xiao Yi's wives were beautiful and alluring. It was a pity that Death Mage wasn't interested in them. Get out! You're not welcome here. Yuqi didn't know where she got her courage from, but she shouted in a deep voice. Xiao Yi propped himself up from the chair. He was afraid that he would be doomed tonight. Let them out. Your opponent is me. Xiao Yi coldly said. However, the moment he spoke, his wound opened up and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Brother Xiao, you can't fight anymore. Xu Nan immediately supported her husband and used her white sleeves to wipe off the blood stains. Her eyes were filled with worry. Yuqi nodded. Brother Xiao, although we don't know much about martial arts, we can still fight with this monster. Xiao Yi gasped for breath. Now wasn't the time to be a hero. He had to run as fast as he could. Why are you so disobedient? Let's go. Xiao Yi cried out in pain. He didn't know that he would have such a day. In the past, it was always him who made others suffer, but now it was his turn. Was this heaven's retribution for him? Nangong Sini supported her husband and said softly, Brother Xiao, even if we die, we will die together. Yes. That's right. The eyes of the 6 women were firm. They did not wish to be born on the same day, but they wished to die on the same day. Why are you doing this, Sini? Take good care of Yin. Yuqi, be a good girl and give birth to your daughter. Xiao Yi's tone was almost pleading. However, the girls had already made up their minds. If they were to die, they would die together. Do you want me to kneel down and beg you? Xiao Yi roared angrily and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Yuqi's white pajamas were instantly dyed red. Brother Xiao. Brother Xiao. Right when the two of them were reluctant to part with each other, Death Mage finally moved. Stretching out his hand, Death Mage pointed towards the phone that was on the table. Everyone was shocked. Xiao Yi said in a deep voice, Give it the phone. Nangong Sini picked up the phone and passed it to Death Mage. When Death Mage held onto the phone, he discovered that it was not unlocked, so he gestured to Nangong Sini. This handphone belonged to Xu Nan. Looking at the skeleton in front of her, she did not feel any fear in her heart. She picked up the handphone from the skeleton's hand and scanned her own face, then heavily threw the handphone onto Death Mage's hand. GGG, Imperial Translation. He has character. He reached out his hand and tapped on the screen of his phone, and the screen lit up. It was still scrolling. It was still the same word. Pay back the money. Everyone was startled. I had originally thought that the other party was here to take revenge, but I didn't expect that the other party was still here to return the money. Why is he so stubborn? Xiao Yi heaved a sigh of relief. If it was just money, then it was fine. Sini, prepare the money. Xiao Yi said weakly. Nangong Sini frowned. We don't have that much cash. Even if we want to raise money, it's not something that can be done in a short while. Then we'll use real estate to pay for it, Xiao Yi said. Although it was not worth it, it was the only hope to save his family. Nangong Sini nodded her head. Suddenly, she felt that Wang Debao was too much of a mechanism. A few days ago, I was still laughing at him for being stupid, but I didn't expect that he was actually a smart person. Regret, I blame myself for randomly coming up with this idea. Wait a moment, I'll go and write the transfer letter. Nangong Sini said coldly. Death Mage actually nodded his head, causing everyone to let out a sigh of relief. As long as the problem could be solved with money, then it wouldn't be a problem. Suddenly, Death Mage saw a television that was placed at the side. Under everyone's astonished gaze, Death Mage walked over, turned on the television and selected CCTV 5. However, the match had just ended, and when Death Mage saw the score on the television, his entire person felt bad. Forget about being killed once, I even lost the ball. I even lost all of my belongings. I can't tolerate this anymore. I'm going to castrate those useless humans. They can't even win against South Korea. Xiao Yi was feeling very bad right now. From the start until now, the other party had already watched the World Cup 4 times, and 2 of those times were even during the World Cup. Why is it so attached to the World Cup? Why did I lose to such a strange opponent? Why? My illustrious reputation has been ruined tonight. Bang! Death Mage smashed the coffee table with a punch, giving everyone a fright. Death Mage thought that the other party was going to flip out, but who knew that he would walk back and forth, point at the television and let out that horrifying voice, seemingly as if he was cursing at the television. After cursing at the television, Death Mage decided that he was going to get back his money. Those money that they had was illegal. I have the right to get it back. After I finish this matter, I will go and get back my debt. In any case, I had gambled 1,000 RMB, and that was all of my belongings. Recently, Master has been giving me very little work, And I am not able to earn much money. I am even almost unable to pay the electricity bill. And this time, I am also unable to draw any water from the 50 billion that I stepped on. That is His Honor's money. Just thinking about it makes me scared. Death Mage turned his head around and took a look at the beauties. The things that are on their necks, fingers, and wrists, those things seem to be quite valuable. Xiao Yi's wives naturally noticed Death Mage's gaze. Although Death Mage doesn't have any eyeballs, they were still able to feel that Death Mage was looking at their bodies. This shameless skeleton. Death Mage hugged onto his scythe and walked here and there. Sometimes he would even walk to the side of the 6 women and look at their progress. Death Mage was acting just like a loafer. Xiao Yi found it hard to believe that he would lose to an opponent like this. Death Mage doesn't even have a bit of the demeanor of an expert. In any case, I have killed you once, but you don't even look at me. You are simply a bastard. Did your hatred get eaten by dogs? About half an hour later, Nangong Sini finished drafting the transfer documents, and even stamped her official seal and signature on the documents. Nangong Sini handed over the documents and said coldly, "The market value of these 3 companies is more than 50 billion. Only more, no less." Death Mage didn't even look at the documents and kept them into his bosom, then pointed at the beauties. The 6 beauties couldn't help but take a step back. Xiao Yi even slammed the table and stood up, but very quickly, he vomited out a mouthful of blood and sat back down. Right now, Death Mage just wanted to say, "The thoughts of you humans are too dirty." After Death Mage signaled to the women finally understood. This skeleton wants jewelry. However, these jewelry were all given to them by Xiao Yi. Although they were a bit reluctant to part with these jewelry, but no matter how reluctant they were, they still had to hand over the jewelry. Death Mage happily kept the jewelry, then picked up his phone and tapped on it again. He was preparing to do one last thing. Death Mage took out his phone. Collect interest. Xiao Yi and the others cursed at Death Mage for being shameless. These 3 companies are all worth more than 50 billion. And yet, Death Mage still wants to collect interest. However, when Xiao Yi saw the last few words on the phone, his heart sunk. 1 life. Death Mage seemed to have forgotten something as he typed out another message. Chapter 105. Death Mage recalled his master's instructions. It seems to be like this, if I didn't remember wrongly. Xiao Yi's entire body was shaking. This was going too far. He actually wanted him to kill the person he loved the most. Otherwise, all of them would die. Xiao Yi opened his bloodshot eyes wide and suddenly shouted, "Bastard! I'll fight it out with you. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Brother Xiao, don't move anymore. You will die if you continue like this." Shunan knew that her husband's injuries must have worsened again. "Don't pull me. I want to perish together with it." Xiao Yi rolled and crawled over to Death Mage's side, then grabbed onto Death Mage's bones and shouted angrily. Death Mage remained indifferent as he waited for them to make their choice. It has been a long time since I have heard such words from Death Mage, and I am feeling a bit nostalgic. Nangong Sini didn't pull her husband. She said softly, "Brother Xiao, you often saved me in the past. This time, it's Sini's turn to save you and the whole Xiao family." Xiao Yi turned his head in a daze and looked at his wife's gentle smile. Bits and pieces of their past flashed through his mind like a movie. No. Sini, you can't do this." Xiao Yi couldn't even stand up and crawled to his wife. Nangong Sini squatted down and combed her husband's hair. She gently wiped the blood from the corner of her husband's mouth. "Brother Xiao, to be able to know you, Sini has never regretted in this life. Although you were very annoying at the beginning, I still like you. After I leave, you have to take good care of Yin Air, understand?" Xiao Yi stretched out his trembling hand and caressed his wife's cheek. "Don't we still have a long way to go? Yin'er cannot be without a mother." "Brother Xiao, Sister Sini, let me do it." Shunan took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. Yuqi couldn't stop crying. "Let me do it." "Yuqi, you have a child. Let me do it." "Let me do it, Brother Xiao." Nangong Sini's eyebrows furrowed as she lightly shouted. "All of you shut up. Your mission in the future is to take good care of Brother Xiao. This was all my idea. If I had asked Brother Xiao to return the money, this wouldn't have happened. I should be the one to bear the consequences. Death Mage seemed to have become impatient from waiting. Hurry up and kill one of them so that I can go and collect the debt from the others. Imperial Translator. Hurry up. Nangong Sini could tell that he was telling them to hurry up. She said softly, Brother Xiao, let me do something for the Xiao family. Otherwise Yin will not be safe. Where there's life, there's hope. Don't look down on women. Nangong Sini was asking her husband to endure and wait for him to rise again. Brother Xiao, Sini won't be able to take care of you in the future. You have to take good care of yourself and Yin. He's our only son. Nangong Sini, who had always been strong, couldn't help but burst into tears when she thought of her son. As an immortal emperor, Xiao Yi had never cried before. But now his face was full of tears and helplessness. Sini, let me kill you. How could I do it? Xiao Yi cried out in pain. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were bloodshot. Nangong Sini immediately stood up, picked up the Xianyuan sword at the side, and then placed it in her husband's hand. Brother Xiao, since things have come to this, do you want to see us all die? Do you want to see Yin'er die? Do you want to see the child in Yuqi's belly die? Since when did you become so indecisive? Xiao Yi had never felt that the Xianyuan sword was so heavy. He looked at his wife and said, I can't do it, I really can't do it. Just when the Xiao family was reluctant to part with the Xianyuan sword, a black whirlpool appeared in the hall. A figure walked out from the whirlpool, and his entire body was wrapped in black mist. The Xiao family was all stupefied. Who is this? However, in the next second, they were even more shocked. Death Mage retreated a few steps and knelt on the ground. With both of his hands on the ground, he respectfully shouted, Master! That's right, the person who came was Wei Chong. He had just sent Tang Wei home and realized that his subordinates were not done with their business. Did something happen again? Thus, he specially came over to take a look. Xiao Yi only felt that the world was spinning. This skeleton was already very powerful, and it actually made the black mist so respectful. Then, what realm was this black mist at? Xiao Yi had never felt that he was so insignificant before. He felt that this black mist could kill him with a single finger. Just who are they? It's impossible that they are the people that man called over. How could this kind of expert be controlled by others? Wei Chong nodded. Death Mage stood up and took out his phone to type something. Then he showed his phone. We pay our respects to Master. Everyone from the Xiao family had their own dignity, but Death Mage had already released his might, causing everyone to kneel on the ground. Wei Chong looked at the person in front of him coldly. To actually dare to refuse to pay me back, you truly deserve to die. After taking over the document that Death Mage passed over, Wei Chong took a look at the document and kept it. Then he said faintly, hurry up. Death Mage replied respectfully, and Wei Chong took another look at the document, then stepped into the black whirlpool and disappeared. Death Mage typed another word. Last minute. All of the women felt that they had provoked an extremely powerful person this time around. This was a feeling that they had never felt before. In the past, they felt that they still had the ability to fight back, but the person who just appeared did not even have the thought of fighting back. How could Xiao Yi not have the same feeling? That person just now was completely capable of killing all of us. So why did he want me to kill my beloved woman? Could it be that you all aren't afraid of me taking revenge? What Wei Chong was least afraid of was taking revenge. If the person behind me comes, you will slowly kill the woman beside me. Brother Xiao, don't take revenge for me. Live on properly, we cannot afford to provoke them. Nangong Sini gave the most rational suggestion to Xiao Yi. The other party is like a titan, and we are just ants. It is already a kind of leniency for them to not kill all of us. Only until death did Nangong Sini realize this point. Just how lucky is it to only kill one person? Without waiting for Xiao Yi to react, Nangong Sini grabbed onto Xianyuan's sword that was in her husband's hand and fiercely pulled. TSK. This was the sound of a sharp object piercing into flesh. Xianyuan's sword pierced through Nangong Sini's abdomen, and the tip of the sword that was dripping with blood appeared on Nangong Sini's back. Sini. Xiao Yi roared out as he looked at his own hand in disbelief. I killed my beloved. No. Xiao Yi hugged onto his wife and roared towards the sky. and tears of blood flowed out from the corner of his eyes. Nangong Sini, who was lying in her husband's embrace, revealed out a trace of a smile and said weakly, "Brother Xiao, your embrace is still so warm." After finished speaking, Nangong Sini slowly closed her beautiful eyes, and Death Mage disappeared from Xiao residence as well. Death Mage was preparing to collect his debt. Xiao residence's main hall was filled with a sorrowful atmosphere. Xiao Yi sat on the ground and foolishly hugged onto his wife's corpse. Both of his eyes were already unfocused, and he looked as if he had become demented. Chapter 106. Because of the angle, Xiaoyun didn't see his mother, who was in his father's embrace. "Daddy, I miss Mommy." Hearing his son's words, tears of regret flowed out from Xiao Yi's eyes. Xu Nan immediately carried Xiaoyun and pretended that nothing happened, then said with a smile, "Yun'er, Mommy went out tonight to earn money for Yun'er." Xiaoyun pouted his small mouth. "Mommy also said that I will accompany Yun'er to sign up for the children's soccer team tomorrow." "Yun'er, be good. I will accompany you to sign up for the soccer team, okay? Daddy is very tired today, and I need to rest tomorrow." Xu Nan comforted Nangong Sini's only son, but every word that she said made her heart ache. "And Yun'er is very good. When Mommy comes back, let Mommy watch Yun'er's match. Mommy will definitely watch Yun'er's match, and I will also cheer for Yun'er." The corner of the little fellow's mouth raised up. "Mommy will definitely be proud of Yun." When Xu Nan carried Xiaoyun and left, mournful cries rang out in the living room. Xiao Yi carried his beloved wife's corpse and looked at the pitch-black sky outside. After a long while, Xiao Yi said gravely, "Sini's death will not be announced to the public. I will find a way to save her. As for the hatred of killing my wife, absolutely irreconcilable. If I admit defeat so easily, then I wouldn't be an immortal emperor." Xiao Yi swore that when I recover to my peak strength, I will settle all the old and new grudges together. As for why he concealed the news of Xiao Yi's death, Xiao Yi didn't want anyone to know that someone killed his beloved wife, and that he was powerless to do anything about it. If Wei Chong knew what Xiao Yi was thinking right now, he would definitely use his honor's words. A salted fish will always be a salted fish. Even if it turns over, it will still be a salted fish. Xiao family was destined to have a tragedy tonight. However, in the eyes of Wei Chong and the others, this kind of ending was extremely fortunate. If it was in the past, Xiao family would have already been exterminated. As for keeping Xiao Yi alive, it wasn't that Yihua didn't think about it. After all, life is as dull as water, and it is still possible to occasionally have some fun. I just hope that Xiao Yi will work hard and not let me down. However, as a supreme overlord, Yihua was currently facing a headache. Qingya was actually lying on his chest and talking in her sleep. "Yihua, I'm going to spank your butt, you high and mighty fellow." Qingya hugged onto Yihua's body like a koala bear while clamoring. From time to time, Qingya would punch onto Yihua's body. Although the punches were very light, it was enough to wake Yihua up. This foolish woman, she actually dares to say such unrealistic words. How can my butt be something that you can hit? Even when I am sleeping, you are still so restless. God knows where the blanket has been moved to. Yihua let out a sigh, then lowered the temperature of the air conditioner by a bit, then covered that alluring and lovely body of hers. After that, he stood up and walked into his office, lit up a cigarette and looked at the full moon. "Your Honor." Not knowing when, Wei Chong appeared behind Yihua, and was respectfully kneeling on the ground. Wei Chong took out the document bag and said, "Your Honor, the matter has been settled." Yihua silently took a puff of the cigarette, then puffed out a lump of smoke. At first glance, the smoke actually formed a skull, but very quickly, the skull dissipated. Compared to money, what Yihua cared more about was whether the mysterious person was dead or not. Who did she kill? Xiao Yi's true love, Nangong Sini. Yihua thought back to the woman who was at the banquet that night, and he didn't have any good impression of her. If your honor is not satisfied, subordinate can go and kill a few more of them. Wei Chong said coldly. I feel that your honor doesn't seem to be satisfied. No need, don't forget our identity, we are law-abiding people. Your honor is wise, subordinate is truly enlightened. Yihua flicked the cigarette ash. Oh right, how is Long Outyan's side? Subordinate has arranged for people to watch over him. He won't be jumping out to cause trouble in a short period of time. Yihua extinguished the cigarette and said faintly, "Just let them work hard for a bit, if not, they won't know what true despair is." Wei Cheng's eyes shone. His honor has really changed. In the past, his honor would always push his way forward, but now he knows how to strategize. Your honor's good fortune is as boundless as the heavens. Subordinate is far inferior to you. Yihua patted onto Wei Cheng's shoulder. Heavens? Hee, go back and sleep early. Don't let your little girlfriend wait for too long. Wei Cheng didn't explain. As an overlord subordinate, even I don't know how to open my mouth, so I asked Lai Gu. And Lai Gu's answer was very straightforward. If you take off your pants, then do it. Could it be that you are going to wear your pants and do it? Wei Cheng couldn't be as straightforward as Lai Gu. Xiao Tang is a good girl. How can she be compared to those celebrities? Originally, I had that thought tonight, and I had even prepared the condoms, but in the end, didn't an accident occur? Forget it, I feel so vexed. I should just ask His Honor to give me an idea. Lai Gu is too unreliable. Your Honor, Subordinate has a question. I hope that Your Honor can enlighten Subordinate. Yihua, who was preparing to return, turned around and asked curiously, "What is it?" Wei Cheng stammered, feeling a little embarrassed. Looking at Wei Cheng's expression, Yihua became even more curious. This kind of expression doesn't seem to be something that should appear on Wei Cheng's face. Speak. Wei Cheng threw caution to the wind and asked, "Your Honor, I want to do that with Xiao Tang. How can I do that? How can I make Xiao Tang agree to do that with Subordinate?" That. Yihua was a bit stupefied. That is mating. Luckily, the lights were switched off. If not, Yihua would be able to see Wei Cheng's red face. Yihua thought that it was something important, but it turns out that it is mating. However, how can Wei Cheng use such a word to describe it? But thinking about it, Wei Cheng's true body was originally a monster. Yihua paused for a moment. When a subordinate is in trouble, as the boss, of course, I have to step forward and solve it. I do have some experience. Wei Cheng was overjoyed. I hope that Your Honor can guide me. Just push him down directly. I didn't expect that His Honor would be the same as Lai Gu, simple and crude. The idol dramas that I watched aren't like that. They are very bashful. Subordinate understands. Wei Cheng could only accept it humbly. In this aspect, you have to learn more from Lai Gu. Yihua said faintly, then walked out of the office, leaving behind Wei Cheng, who was in a daze. Seems like His Honor is also unable to solve my problem. Perhaps I can only seek help from the madam. This is so annoying. Lying back on the bed, Qinya, who was beside Yihua, asked in a low voice, "You went to smoke again?" Qinya changed her posture and hugged onto Yihua, then asked faintly, "What do you want to eat tomorrow morning?" "Zilongbao." Yihua moved slightly and hugged onto Qinya's shoulder. "Right now, I have already come to a conclusion. This woman will only be obedient on the bed. As long as she gets off the bed, it seems like she will change into another person." Thinking about it, Yihua once again fell asleep. Not knowing how long had passed, the sound of splashing water rang out beside Yihua's ears. It actually started raining heavily early in the morning. Yihua's right hand moved, and his brows wrinkled. "Where is she?" Immediately Yihua opened his eyes, and the woman beside him actually disappeared. This caused Yihua's heart to sink. The bedroom door was suddenly pushed open. Why is it raining while buying breakfast?" Qinya pouted her small mouth and complained. Qinya's beautiful hair could be seen dripping wet. Her shoulders were completely drenched, her beautiful face was filled with water droplets, and her delicate hands were carrying zilongbao and kelp soup that was already packed. Perhaps because she was jogging, a lot of soup had spilled out. Chapter 107. Qinya placed the soup dumplings on the plate, then turned her head around and looked towards Yihua. "Why are you still in a daze for? Quickly go and wash your face and brush your teeth. It won't taste good if it gets cold." Yihua wrinkled his brows, seemingly a bit unhappy. "Come over." "What?" "Qinya is the same as well. I went out early in the morning to buy food for you to eat. Yet when you come back, you don't even give me a good look. I am simply unable to communicate with you. If I ask you to come over, then just come over. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Yihua's tone became heavier, causing Qingye to feel very unhappy and wronged. However, he wanted to see what this bastard was going to do. If he took an inch, he would definitely run away from home this time. With a face filled with coldness, Qingye sat beside Yihua, and when Yihua saw Qingye's wet appearance, he wished that he could slap this foolish woman awake. Doesn't she know how to take shelter from the rain? Yihua stretched out his hand and placed it on Qingye's back. A gentle radiance appeared on Yihua's palm, and Qingye's beautiful hair and clothes were gradually dried. Don't you know to bring an umbrella when you go out? Why are you so stupid? Yihua lectured. Originally, Qingye thought that Yihua would fly into a rage, and didn't expect that it would be like this. Feeling the warmth coming from Yihua's back, Qingye's heart felt like it was about to melt. This fellow is just too concerned about my face. Qingye snorted. Isn't it all for the sake of letting you eat something hot? Looking at Qingye's slightly arrogant appearance, Yihua suddenly had the urge to push her down, just like how he dealt with her that night. However, Yihua endured this urge. The words that the Supreme Overlord had said are like water that was spilled out. It is absolutely impossible for me to make irresponsible remarks. Not long later, Qingye's clothes dried up. Yihua stood up and said faintly, "Let's go out and eat breakfast together tomorrow." After finished speaking, Qingye went to wash up, leaving behind the adorable Qingye. However, right now, Qingye was still feeling very happy in her heart. In actuality, having a cultivator as a husband is not bad. To think that a cultivator actually knows how to dry clothes. In the future, I will even have money left for ironing clothes. Yihua had a bit of understanding towards the soup dumplings. After dipping the soup dumpling into the chili sauce, the soup dumpling would become bright red, and it would look very appetizing. With a bite, the meat filling of the soup dumpling and the chili sauce would mix together in the mouth, and it would feel very comfortable. However, eating a steamed bun and drinking a mouthful of kelp soup was a perfect match. In actuality, the reason why Yihua was willing to stay in this world and not leave was also because of food. Yihua, bring me along after breakfast, Yihua asked faintly. Addicted? How can this be called addiction? When I can eat chicken on my own, it will be a great success. I'm still addicted. It's not addiction. You're really addicted. Yihua, do you want to quarrel again? I'm bored anyway. Let's quarrel first. Qingye. This fellow was much gentler yesterday, but he was still the same today. He even said that he was bored and quarreled first. What kind of husband and wife would quarrel for no reason? I am already full. You can eat by yourself. Qingye pouted coquettishly, then turned around and walked towards her little sister's room. Yihua drank a mouthful of kelp soup, then said faintly, "You are still addicted to it." After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Yihua picked up the documents from the office, then went to Qing Yutong's room. As expected, Qing Yutong was sitting alone in the room, and Qing Yutong had a serious look on her face. His results were not bad. He actually managed to get to 15. His chances of getting chicken dinner were very high. However, Yihua decided to let Qingye experience the feeling of a black screen. Casually walking past the power source, Qingye, who was extremely nervous, suddenly went into a daze. Why did the screen turn black? When she turned her head around to take a look, she discovered that her man's leg was touching the power source. Yihua. Oh, I accidentally kicked it. Yihua turned his head around and looked elsewhere. I'm going to fight it out with you. Qingye immediately jumped onto Yihua's body, seemingly wanting to suffocate Yihua to death. Do you know how it feels now? This was the revenge of a supreme overlord. Qingye punched onto Yihua's chest with her small fists. Yihua took out the document bag and waved it in front of Qingye's eyes. Take a look. Humph, what is this? Qingye jumped down and took over the document bag from Yihua's hands. Don't think that by gifting me a few things, I will be able to forgive your actions just now. You have to bring me to eat chicken dinner for an entire day. Qingye pouted her small mouth and mumbled. However, when she saw the contents of the document bag, she was completely stupefied. Pointing at the document bag, Then pointing at Yihua, she was shocked to the point that she couldn't speak. Yihua sighed. Just this little thing and she is already shocked to this extent. After a while, Qingya calmed down. Yihua, Xiao family returned the money to us, is this true? Could it be that this is fake? That's not right, they won't return the money to us. They aren't prepared to return the money to us, so I asked someone to go and check the accounts. Fortunately, they are tactful and returned the money to me. Yihua sat beside Qing Yutong's bed and said with a lukewarm tone, but there was a suspicion of him bragging, which was commonly known as acting cool. Acting cool again, but you asked someone to go and check the accounts, is this really good? Nothing happened, right? If there's anything, we can talk about it properly, don't fight. Qingya asked with concern. Yihua laughed lightly. Do I look like that kind of person who would casually make a move? Yihua, actually, I quite like it when you aren't acting cool. Qingya, actually, I prefer you when you are on the bed. Go to hell, scoundrel. Qingya placed the document bag at the side, then squatted down and plugged in the power source, and actually started eating chicken dinner again. This made Yihua feel that it was strange. Doesn't this woman view money as her life? Shouldn't she be changing her clothes and going to handle the procedures? Are you very curious? Qingya said faintly. Indeed. Qingya held onto her chin and said faintly, if subordinates are not used to do things, then what's the use of having subordinates? Hearing that his woman had such a realization, Yihua felt very gratified. Finally, he started to realize this point. What are you spacing out for? Quickly come and play with me. I really shouldn't have let her play games. Zijin City Tang family. Tang Wushuang's expression was grave as he smoked his cigarette nonstop. The ashtray was filled with cigarette butts. Seems like he didn't sleep at all yesterday. Wushuang, I didn't expect that Xianyuan's sword would actually fall into Brother Zhao's hands. Quan'anrong said gravely. Tang Wushuang let out a heavy sigh. That's right. Back then when Xianyuan's sword appeared, it created a reign of terror. I didn't expect that Brother Zhao actually took Xianyuan's sword behind my back. Wushuang, do you have any thoughts about what happened last night? The news that the spy sent over was that Brother Zhao won, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. However, after the fight ended, that person appeared again. Tang Wushuang was unable to understand what was going on. Logically speaking, the second time that person appeared, he should have killed Xiao Yi, but he didn't. Could it be that he really took the money and left? Quan'anrong took out a document bag and handed it over to the man. Wushuang, take these and go and see how Brother Zhao is doing. Tang Wushuang took a look at the things inside the document bag, and his brows wrinkled deeply. No matter what, that night, you and Brother Zhao gambled together. We can still afford to lose this bet. After closing the document bag, Tang Wushuang said gravely, Anrong, are you afraid of that person as well? Chapter 108. That's right, if it was really that man who called them over, then who is he? Quan'anrong suggested. Wushuang, you can find someone to test him out. Anrong, other people will be more curious about that man's identity. We should not stand out. Tang Wushuang was not an idiot. Even Xiao Yi suffered a loss. I have to be cautious. Hubby is still the smart one. Quickly go and take a bath. Then go and see how Brother Zhao is doing. All right. Tang Wushuang let out a breath. Brother Zhao did not die yesterday. Zijin City is going to be quiet again, and a lot of people are going to be disappointed. Why didn't the other party kill Xiao Yi? I really don't understand. Right now, inside Bai family's castle, Wang Debao and Bai Cixin had just finished their morning exercise. Wang Debao had a comfortable expression as he hugged onto the woman that other people were envious of. Only Wang Debao dares to press down on Bai family's woman. Wife, was the 50 billion spent worth it? Wang Debao said bewilderedly. From the situation last night, Xiao Yi seemed to have won. As for the black-robed man that appeared at the end, Wang Debao was not sure. Bai Cixin leaned on her husband's side and said faintly, I can only say that we didn't lose anything. Then should we ask for the money back? Wang Debao was also testing his wife's attitude, and he became a lot more daring. Debao, how about you go? Wang Debao paused for a moment, then looked at the ceiling and said, do I, Wang Debao, look like someone who can't afford to lose? If I ask for the money back, how embarrassing would that be? Besides, it doesn't matter if I lose my face, but if I lose your face, that wouldn't be good. Bai Cixin laughed lightly. You really know how to talk. Wang Debao let out a sigh of relief. Luckily my desire to live is high. Let's put aside the matter about the money first. You still have to go back to the south to control the situation. Those rich merchants of Long and City and Yun sect are searching for treasures together. You have to pay more attention to them. Bai Cixin sat up. Her sexy body was exposed to the air, causing Wang Debao's eyes to stare straight at her. After putting on her light pajamas, Bai Cixin picked up the secret document on the table and took a look, then frowned. Wife, what's wrong? Bai Cixin put down the documents and walked to the window with graceful steps. She looked into the distance. Debao, go back to the south later. The treasure this time is not simple. You must find it before they do. Wang Debao put on his clothes and his expression became serious. Wife, what kind of treasure is it? Ancient godly item. Wang Debao's expression changed drastically, and he muttered. When the Xianyuan sword appeared, the northerners fought until their heads bled, and there were countless casualties. After a few years, an ancient godly item actually appeared again. Debao, the Xianyuan sword has been snatched away by Xiaoyi. This time, we must obtain the ancient godly item. Bai Cixin heaved a sigh of relief. She turned around and combed her husband's hair. The Bai family seemed powerful, but they were still far from being able to compete with some of the ancient aristocratic families and sections. Other people had been through the baptism of time, and their foundations were very strong, whereas Bai family only lacked an ancient godly item, and with that they would be able to stand on equal footing with Xiao family. Surpassing Xiao family would only be a matter of time. Wang Debao hugged his wife's waist. Don't worry, isn't it just an ancient godly item? I will definitely help my wife get it back. Debao, you have to be careful. I can only stand guard here. I can't help you much. Wang Debao laughed heartily and lifted Bai Cixin's chin. Wife, wash up and wait for your husband to come back. You aren't being serious again. Bai Cixin pinched onto her husband's waist. Meanwhile, Wang Debao carried his wife and returned to the bed. Seems like there will be another round of overtime. The news of an ancient godly item appearing in Long and City swept through the whole of Wuxia in an instant. The rich merchants and Yun sect in Long and City were extremely furious. Just which bastard leaked the information? In actuality, the ones who were the most furious were those rich merchants. Originally, they thought that there were only some ordinary treasures inside, and they didn't expect that there were even ancient godly items inside. No wonder Yin sect was so courteous. Only now did they know the real reason. They were too cunning. The whole south started to move, and they all rushed towards Long and City. Even if they couldn't obtain it, it was fine for them to have a look. The northerners also started to move, and they secretly snuck into the south. After all, the treasure appeared in the south this time, and the sects and families in the north did not have the qualifications to get involved. Just like how the Xianyuan sword appeared back then, the south did not get involved either. However, just last night, a lot of people heard about the might of the Xianyuan sword, and it was practically exactly the same as what was said in the legends. However, right now a second ancient godly item appeared. How could the northerners sit still? Without a doubt, Long and City, which was a second-tier city, was going to be in turmoil. Qingya, divert the firepower from the side. Qingya, drive. Qingya, give me the level 3 helmet. Qingya, support me. Go and die. Qingya snorted. Even if I die, I still have to support you. I have to give all the good equipment to you. Yihua took a sideways glance at Qingya. If I die, who is going to carry you to eat chicken? Have you ever carried me to eat chicken before? Isn't it because you are too noob? At most, you can be considered as a level 4 bun. Yihua said indifferently, angering Qingya half to death. Who are you calling a level 4 bun? Qingya shouted out gravely. A quarrel was going to happen at any moment. Could it be that there is someone else in this room? I'm going to fight it out with you. Qingya directly jumped onto Yihua's thigh, and the posture was rather ambiguous. Children, please close your eyes. At this moment, the door of the room was suddenly pushed open, and Yihua and Qingye immediately looked towards the door. Qing Yutong could be seen dragging her luggage and looking at her big sister and brother-in-law with an adorable look. You two are actually doing that in the room of an unmarried girl in broad daylight. You two are too perverted. Qing Yutong's face collapsed and said pitifully, as if she would not be able to get married in the future. Qingye glared at Yihua fiercely and stood up. Why didn't you two give me a call? Big sister will go and pick you up. I almost blew up your phone calling. I think that you two can't wait for me to not go home. Qingye touched her pocket, and only then did she remember that her phone was still in the bedroom. And Yihua's phone was most probably in the bedroom as well. Yutong, big sister will treat you to a big meal at noon. You want to pacify your little sister's hurt mood with just a meal? Whatever you say, in any case, big sister only has money left right now. Yihua leaned against the window and lit up a cigarette. Qingye, it is almost noon. Hurry up and sell the food. I'll go and get my phone. Qing Yutong was about to kneel down to Yihua. These two are planning to be otakus to death. In the past, big sister wasn't an otakus at all, but I didn't expect that after getting together with brother-in-law, she would instantly become an otakus, and even the company doesn't care about her anymore. If this goes on, I will be more or less the same as brother-in-law, facing bankruptcy. Qingye found her phone on the table in the bedroom and opened it to take a look. She discovered that there were a lot of missed calls, and among the missed calls were from Yutong and her father. Helpless, she could only call them. Dad, what's going on with Xiao family? Qing Huashuan's questioning voice immediately rang out from the phone. Qingye replied faintly, I don't know. You still don't know. Do you know how many people are distancing themselves from us? Isn't that even better? You are able to clearly distinguish who is good to you and who is bad to you. Chapter 109. Alright. Good. Now that your wings have grown, don't you? If you have the ability, then don't go back home for your entire life. On the other side of the phone, Qing Huaxian was practically roaring. If you don't want to go back, then I won't go back. Qingye was someone who was susceptible to coaxing but not coercion. The more it was like this, the more Qingye resisted. After hanging up her father's phone call, Qingye's mood wasn't that good. If I compare Yihua with my father, I suddenly discovered that Yihua is much better than my father. At least Yihua wouldn't berate me because of other people. After adjusting her mentality, Qingye walked towards her little sister's room. What do you want to eat? I'll treat you. KFC family bucket. Qing Yutong raised her hand and said while smiling. Qingye shook her head. These two are just children. In any case, I am a person who has a net worth of 100 billion, and yet, the two of you only eat KFC. Seeing that big sister finished picking, Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes. Brother-in-law, big sister, how about we go for a round? I have the same intention. Yihua said faintly. You think I'm afraid of you? 3 consecutive players immediately went online. And of course, they would be playing in a party. On the way, the cold and aloof Yihua and Qingye had always been silent. And only Qing Yutong would be chattering and flirting with other people. And this time was no exception. They met a passerby. This round was a mirage, and the 3 people appeared very quickly. Qing Yutong was already impatient to tease people. Little brother? Big sister? Qing Yutong shouted out sweetly. If the other party was a big brother, he would definitely become a level 4 backpack for me. Even my brother-in-law has a big sister to become a level 4 backpack, so I naturally want to have someone to run errands for me. After waiting for more than 10 seconds, the other party did not reply, and Qing Yutong thought to herself that something is wrong. Could it be that the other party is a female? Big brother, do you have a microphone? Qing Yutong asked. Finally, the passerby replied, just that. This sentence made Qing Yutong's face turn black. And hello. Yihua and Qingye were both wearing earphones, and they were able to hear each other's voice. Yihua let out a sigh. This is really like that saying, you will never know who your teammates are. Bringing along 2 level 4 bags is already very disadvantageous for me. And now, I still have to bring along a burden. Qing Yutong took a deep breath. This little fellow actually called me aunt. Auntie. Oh my god, I'm still a virgin. Little friend, Not auntie, it's big sister. Qin Yutong's smile was very forced. A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yi Hua and Qin Ye's mouth. We finally got to see Qin Yutong being teased instead. Mother said that only children who are about the same age as Ali are called big brother and big sister. Auntie, your voice is so nice, it's about the same age as mother, so you must be much older than Ali. In an instant, a few black lines appeared on Qin Yutong's brows, especially when she heard the phrase a lot bigger. She made herself look like an old witch. But this little guy is not bad. He knows how to flatter me and say that my voice is nice. Little fellow, how old are you? To actually play games, have you done your homework or not? Seeing that Qin Yutong was unable to be stubborn anymore, Qin Yutong began to use her age to bully Qin Yutong. Ali has finished the homework assigned by mother. Auntie, don't you need to go to work? I heard that adults who don't go to work are no different from salted fish. The immature voice of a little girl rang out from the earpiece. Qin Yutong had met an opponent with high strength. Yi Hua and Qin Ye took a look at each other. We are both jobless people. Qin Yutong coughed lightly to express her awkwardness. In actuality, her entire person was in a bad mood. Little fellow, auntie has a special occupation. You still haven't told auntie how old you are. Ali will be 3 years old this year. The three immediately went into a daze. It is actually a little kid who is almost 3 years old. Qin Yutong felt very sullen, being bullied by a little kid who is almost 3 years old. However, it is normal for a little kid who is almost 3 years old to call me auntie. This is so painful, being called auntie by someone. Qin Yutong asked curiously, "Where's your mother?" "Mother went out." "Why are you calling mother?" "Why aren't you calling mother?" Ali doesn't know either. "Then, what about your father?" "Mother said that father died." The little fellow's tone immediately became downcast. Qin Ye glared at her little sister. "How can you go and bully a child?" "Ali, I'm sorry." "Auntie, it's all right. Ali is already used to it." Although the little girl said it very casually, the three could tell that her tone was very downcast, and Qin Ye subconsciously rubbed onto her stomach. Qin Yutong patted onto her chest. "Ali, don't worry, auntie will bring you to eat chicken." "Is auntie very powerful?" "Of course, auntie is a beautiful girl warrior. I can take down everything in a matter of minutes." "That's great. Are the other two aunties friends as well?" Ali asked with her childish voice. Qin Yutong giggled. "That's right, they are all cold type, they don't talk at all. Uncle and auntie are all cold type. My mother is also a bit like that, everyone is afraid of her," Ali said in a low voice, seemingly as if she was afraid of being heard by others. Qin Ye let out a sigh. "Thanks to my little sister, I have also become an auntie." Very quickly the four entered the plane and the four prepared to jump. Qin Yutong gave the order. "We are going to jump to a place with fewer people, and develop wretchedly." "Auntie, why are we going to jump to a place with fewer people? Ali often jumps to a boxing gym." Yi Hua, Qin Ye, Qin Yutong. To actually ask why are we going to jump to a place with fewer people? Is there even a need to ask? Of course, it's because we are noobs, and we are prepared to stay low all the way. However, as an elder, how can I be looked down upon by a child? Qin Yutong said gravely. "Isn't auntie afraid that Ali will get hurt? That's why we are going to jump to a place with fewer people." "Auntie, don't worry, Ali often wins chicken dinner." Yi Hua, Qin Ye, Qin Yutong. Qin Yutong was very hurt. She sneaked a glance at her brother-in-law and big sister, and their expressions were the same as well. So miserable. Yi Hua decided to bring them to win chicken dinner this round. Only then would he be able to display the strength of a supreme overlord. "If I don't win chicken dinner this round, I will quit smoking for an hour." The four of them all jumped to the boxing gym. And there were quite a lot of people that jumped to the boxing gym. There were even 2 teams of people that jumped to the boxing gym. Yi Hua definitely has to display his true strength, and let them know what an expert is. However, here came the problem. The entire boxing gym actually didn't have any loot. Not even a frying pan could be found. In actuality, it wasn't that Yi Hua hadn't seen this kind of situation before. He would occasionally bump into it a few times, but he didn't pay too much attention to it. However, Today's situation was different. How could he not have any guns? At the same time, in the red building below the boxing gym, one of the rooms was filled with equipment. M4, 98K, level 3 helmet, level 3 armor, all kinds of bullets and medicine. F***K. What kind of luck does this streamer have to actually bump into such a thing the moment he opened the door? Brother, I'm afraid that this is your first time coming to see this streamer. Let me tell you, this streamer really didn't cheat. In any case, I am already in awe of the streamer's luck. If the airdrop didn't hit his face, then he would have really cheated. Chapter 110. Yi Hua, who was in the boxing dojo, was very annoyed. The two salted fishes were actually chasing after him and beating him up. This is also a game. If it was in reality, I would turn the two of you into a pool of blood. Brother-in-law, I'm here to save you. Qing Yutong suddenly jumped out from an unknown place and punched towards Qing Yutong. Yi Hua saw that half of his health bar was gone. This must be a spy sent by the enemy, right? Qing Yutong's head shrunk back. Brother-in-law, this is purely an accident. Who asked you to suddenly stop just now? Yi Hua was really speechless. This was already not the first time. There was another time when someone took out a 98K and aimed it at his head. Afterward, his helmet was destroyed, and the excuse was that his hand shook a little. Brother-in-law, be careful. Just when Yi Hua was absent-minded, a player jumped up high into the air and punched towards Yi Hua's head. Bang! It was the sound of a revolver. The person who jumped up was instantly shot in the head. His companions saw that someone else had a gun and immediately ran away. Bang! Another headshot. Yi Hua and the other two were stupefied. Ali ran over and asked in a childish voice, "Uncle, are you okay? I have some bandages here." Yi Hua felt hurt, really hurt. I have never felt so sullen before. I was actually saved by a little girl, and she even gave me a bandage. My God. The host in the red building had just finished cleaning up and was about to go to the boxing gym when he heard the sound of a revolver. The host's expression changed drastically. Host, run. The revolver monster has appeared again. Host, where there's life, there's hope. Run. Why did you guys tell the host to run? You guys don't know, but the host has been tortured by this revolver monster a few times in the past few days. After that, whenever she hears the sound of a revolver, she will take a detour. The host's equipment can't even beat a pistol. Sigh, it's not that the host is bad, but that the opponent is too strong. Sure enough, the host chose to drive away. He had tried countless times in the past, but he had always died under the revolver's marksmanship. The opponent was too brutal. With a pistol, little Ali was simply like a god slaying god. In just a short while, the entire boxing gym was cleared out. Yi Hua, who was holding on to his wife and sister-in-law, looked at the boxing gym blankly, and a feeling of powerlessness emerged from the bottom of his heart. Next, it was little Ali's turn to perform. Uncle, Auntie, please stay in the car. Let Ali charge first. Dong dong dong. Gunshots and grenades rang out from the house in front. Uncle, Auntie, you can come in and loot now. Yi Hua was very hurt. Qingye and Qing Yutong liked Yi Hua very much. This child is too interesting. Ali, why don't you let Aunt charge together with you? It's so dangerous for you to go alone. Qingye also started talking to Ali. Ali was very cheerful, and her sweet voice was very lovable. Ali said in a childish voice, "If Uncle and Auntie come, Ali will be distracted." Yi Hua, Qingye, Qing Yutong. From the looks of it, Ali had treated the three of them as burdens. Yi Hua was too hurt, and he didn't even want to continue playing anymore. To actually be treated as a burden by a little girl. Ali could be seen driving the pickup truck, and the pickup truck was completely silent. Uncle, Auntie, why aren't you talking? Was it because their equipment was too bad? Ali will snatch the airdrop for you. Looking at Yi Hua's expression, Qingye laughed out. Qing Yutong also looked over, and upon discovering that her brother-in-law's face was as black as coal, Qing Yutong immediately laughed out. Little Ali was confused. Auntie, what are you all laughing at? Qingye said tenderly, "We are laughing at Uncle, he is too jealous of Ali." Ali seemed to have suddenly come to a realization. Uncle, I'm sorry. Ali stole your limelight and made you lose face in front of Auntie. The faces of the three immediately froze. Qingye and Qing Yutong immediately laughed to the point where they were gasping for breath. Little Ali is too cute, she actually said it out loud. Yi Hua endured the pain in his chest and said while gnashing his teeth, Ali, you played well. It's alright, Ali only played for a few days. Yi Hua almost vomited blood. Ali is the strongest opponent that I have ever met. Before even exchanging blows, I was already angered to the point that I almost vomited blood. Every single sentence that Ali said was filled with killing intent. With little Ali, Yi Hua entered the finals without any difficulty. Furthermore, there were only 5 players left. For versus 1. It's over, the anchor is going to die. A song of death for the anchor. You guys don't need to say anymore. The anchor is very formidable. She fought her way to the finals with 4 players. What's the use of not getting chicken? The commenter above is correct. Yi Hua didn't even know what he was doing in this round. I clearly wanted to show off my strength, but in the end, I didn't even do anything and reached the finals. Furthermore, I was even brought into the finals by a little child. If this were to be spread out, where would I put my face? This game is poisonous. Uncle Auntie Ali, take care of him. This way it will be fair. After finished speaking, little Ali rushed out. In less than 10 seconds, little Ali had already gotten rid of her opponent and got chicken. This was the first time in Yi Hua's life that he got chicken without doing anything. Qingye and Qing Yutong were extremely excited. The anchor is so miserable he got beaten up. That's right, he is too weak. I'm unsubscribing. The anchor's heart was also collapsing. It is my fault that my opponent is too savage. Don't leave. As long as I don't meet with a revolver monster, I will definitely get chicken. Qingye and Qing Yutong excitedly hugged each other and celebrated. Meanwhile, Yi Hua's face was cold and unhappy. Little Ali, tell Auntie what is your name? Qingye asked curiously. Qing Yutong directly gave up on her brother-in-law and went to hug onto little Ali's thigh. That's right. Ali will bring Aunt to eat chicken. But mother said that I can't tell strangers Ali's name. Little Ali said pitifully, as if he was very afraid of his mother. Qing Yutong said tenderly, is Auntie a bad person? Of course I'm not a bad person. Then tell Auntie your name, little Ali. After a moment of silence, Ali's cute voice rang out. Uncle Auntie, my name is Donghuangli. Just as Ali reported his name, a woman's voice came from the headset. Ali, why are you playing games again? Have you finished your homework? When Yi Hua heard this voice, his brows slightly wrinkled. Little Ali went offline. Qingye and Qing Yutong were depressed, and they were really worried for little Ali. Her mother seemed to be very strict, and it could be seen from her tone just now. The takeout hasn't arrived yet? What's their phone number? I want to go and file a complaint. Yi Hua had a stomach full of anger but had no place to vent it. I actually got a chicken without doing anything. Seeing Yi Hua's angry look, Qingye and Qing Yutong couldn't help but laugh. Qingye consoled. Yi Hua, she is just a child, look at you, I'm sorry. I can't help but want to laugh again. Big sister, I beg of you, don't laugh anymore, my abs are about to come out. The 2 sisters took a look at each other, then once again burst out with laughter. Chapter 111. However, that little girl just now was indeed formidable. This point has to be confirmed. It's just that, these 2 silly women, are they that funny? I just don't want to cheat. Aya, when is my little nephew coming out? When the time comes, he will bring mom and aunt to eat chicken. Qing Yutong rubbed onto her big sister's stomach and giggled. Qingye revealed out a beautiful smile. It would be great if the little fellow was as obedient as that little girl just now. He wouldn't be like his father. What are you talking about? He should be like me. Yi Hua said gravely. Qingye snorted. Seeing how pitiful you are, I won't bicker with you. At this time, the takeaway arrived. After eating a spicy chicken burger, Yi Hua walked down the stairs. The 2 sisters smiled but didn't say anything. After all, being dealt a blow by a little girl who wasn't even 3 years old was indeed quite hurtful. Walking down to the bar counter, Yi Hua mixed the wine that he liked, then lit up a cigarette. After taking a puff, he took a sip of the wine. This is life. The vexing matter is gone in an instant. After taking the wine and the cigarette, Yihua sat in the booth and slowly sunk into deep thoughts. Being invincible really feels so empty. Even if I win, I won't be able to make my heart feel happy. In the past, I still had opponents who were on par with me, and some of them were even stronger than me. The excitement in battle was so refreshing, but now, I really miss my previous opponents, and also those overlords who formed a group to kill me. I wonder if they are living well now. If they are living too well, then I will find a time to make them not living so well. Since I was dealt a blow by that little girl, I can only vent my anger on you too. If you too want to blame someone, then blame little Ali. While thinking, Yihua fell asleep. Not knowing how long had passed, a voice rang out beside his ear. Your Honor? Your Honor? Yihua wrinkled his brows. Noticing that Wei Chong was standing beside him, he let out a breath of relief and sat up. Lighting up a cigarette, he looked at the time and said, Why are you here already at 5? Your Honor, subordinate just finished a meeting with Xiao Tang, and I don't plan on going back. Wei Chong bowed and said respectfully at the side. Yihua stood up and picked up the cigarette box on the table. Did you push her down? As subordinate feels that this matter needs to be handled carefully. Yihua nodded his head and said faintly, Not bad, you know how to think. Thank you for your praise, Your Honor. Wei Chong said with a smile. To be able to receive his honor's praise is such an honorable thing. Xiao Tang is truly my lucky star. While smoking, Yihua prepared to go upstairs. However, just when he stepped onto the stairs, he seemed to have thought of something and shouted out, Wei Chong, come over, I have something to ask you. Wei Chong jogged over. Your Honor, do you have anything to tell me? Yihua leaned on the railing of the stairs, then asked with his brows wrinkled. Do you still remember that woman from 3 years ago? 3 years ago? Wei Chong muttered. Why did Your Honor suddenly ask about this matter? Wei Chong asked curiously. Yihua puffed out a mouthful of smoke. It's nothing, I just suddenly thought of it. His honor is reminiscing about the past. His humanity is getting better and better. Subordinate congratulates his honor. Pausing for a moment, Wei Chong continued. Compared to Your Honor's first woman, Madam is much luckier. Yihua's interest was piqued. He straightforwardly sat at the side and listened to his subordinate's analysis. Tell me, how lucky is Madam? This subordinate does not dare to casually evaluate Madam. Yihua glared at him and said coldly, I asked you to speak, so speak. You are already evaluating Madam. Wei Chong was frightened to the point that he directly kneeled down. It's all my fault. Why did I say Madam? This subordinate deserves to die. If you still don't speak, I will let Lai Gu go and kill your Xiao Tang. Yihua said faintly. In actuality, he just wanted to see how Wei Chong would react. As expected, Wei Chong became anxious, but very quickly he hid his emotions. This subordinate will speak right now. Yihua slowly closed his eyes and waited for Wei Chong to speak. Your Honor's first woman. This subordinate still remembers it vividly. After all, she was the first human woman that Your Honor had ever touched. Her appearance was extremely beautiful, and only Madam's beauty could compete with her. However, for her to be able to receive Your Honor's favor, it is also her good fortune that she cultivated. Tell me the main point, how did Madam get lucky? Yihua said faintly. Wei Chong swallowed his saliva. Does Your Honor feel that there is any difference between 3 years ago and now? Yihua did not speak. 3 years ago, Your Honor's personality was still very unstable and moody, but now, Your Honor is able to control those emotions. Madam waited for Your Honor for 3 days, and Your Honor went downstairs to meet with her. From this, it can be seen that Your Honor has a compassionate heart. However, that woman was not as lucky as Madam. 2 months later, she came to Leisure Bar and waited for Your Honor for half a month, and Your Honor did not even come down to meet with her. Yihua slowly opened his eyes. She waited for me for half a month? You seem to have never told me about this before. Just like what subordinate said, back then, Your Honor was very unstable, and before subordinate could even open my mouth, Your Honor told subordinate to scram. Yihua extinguished the cigarette. There is such a thing. Right now, Wei Chong had learned how to read someone's expression and figure out what someone was thinking, just like now. Does your honor want subordinate to go down and look for her? Wei Chong asked. Yihua slowly walked upstairs and said calmly, No need, that one person has already made me worried to death. Wei Chong laughed. Madam is, after all, a human, her words and actions are naturally different from your honor. Go and do your work. Yes. Regarding the first woman, Yihua suddenly thought of her today. Just like what Yihua had said, he would only touch the same woman once. This time, Qingye was just an accident, because she was pregnant with Yihua's bloodline. If not, there wouldn't be such a thing. Yihua walked up to the second floor. He had already forgotten about the matter of the first woman. She was just a passerby in my life, so I should just slightly reminisce about her. Pushing open the door, Yihua could see Qingye and Qing Yutong sitting in front of the computer with a serious expression. The atmosphere was extremely tense. I wonder if they will come and look for me if I turn off the power. Forget it, am I the supreme overlord, such a senseless person? Only a foolish woman like Qingye would do something like turning off the power. However, as my woman, she is actually not infatuated with me. And instead, she likes to play games. In the beginning it was work, and now, in a blink of an eye, it became a game. Brother-in-law, look at me and big sister. Both of us managed to get into the top 10, and we are going to get chicken dinner soon. Qing Yutong began to become excited. The two women could be seen lying on the haystack, and the main point was that the two of them still had nervous expressions on their faces. Yihua let out a sigh. It should be about time to finish this game, let's go out and eat. Yihua, can you not speak? Other people will hear what you say. Qingye said in a low voice. What else could Yihua say? Yihua straightforwardly lied down on his sister-in-law's bed and rested. Today, after being dealt a blow by little Ali, I don't even want to play anymore. Chapter 112. Yutong, how about we play another round? Qingye was unwilling to admit defeat. And the last round. Qing Yutong belonged to the type of person who would accompany him to the end. Even if it was an all-nighter, it was the last round again. Yihua had already heard the last round countless of times. I really can't bear it anymore. Even if it is a childish thing, I still have to do it today. Yihua. Brother-in-law, how can you be like this? After unplugging the power, Yihua's face was filled with comfort. Even if you don't eat, my child still wants to eat. Isn't it just the last round? So stingy. Qingye pouted her mouth and went back to her room to change her clothes. I can't possibly wear pajamas when I go out, right? Qing Yutong looked at her brother-in-law and said tenderly, Brother-in-law, why aren't you going out yet? Could it be that you want to see sister-in-law change her clothes? Yihua took a glance at Qing Yutong, and Qing Yutong immediately crossed her arms around her chest and said shyly, Brother-in-law, big sister is still at the side, don't look at me like that. He's not bad looking. Of course. It's just that he's a little silly. Brother-in-law you. Yihua turned around and left. This sister-in-law's return has indeed added a bit of joy to me. Qing Yutong, who was in the room, stomped her feet and mumbled, How am I stupid? Master, you are indeed a little silly sometimes. You're the stupid one. You're the most stupid person in the system. Master should understand the meaning of the saying, He who keeps company with ink will be stained black. All right. All of you have come to bully me. I will remember this debt. Master, you'd better write it down in your little notebook. I'm afraid you'll forget the oath you made. Qing Yutong clicked her tongue. Don't mention my dark history. After Qingye finished changing her clothes, she said to Yihua, You go and change your clothes as well. It's summertime and you are still wearing a suit. Where is the short-sleeved shirt that you wore yesterday? It's too childish. Don't be long-winded. Go in and change. Right now, Qingye didn't want Yihua to be too stylish, lest some wild bees fly over to him. Qingye walked downstairs and discovered that Leisure Bar was about to open for business, and everyone was starting to get busy. Madam. Wei Chong walked over and greeted respectfully. Qingye smiled gently. Wei Chong, what's wrong? Wei Chong looked at Tang Wei, who was not far away. She was currently wiping the table and said in a low voice, "Madam, Wei Chang has a request." "Oh, if I can help you, I will definitely help you," Qingye said with a smile. Wei Chang respectfully said, "Actually, it's not a big deal. Madam should know that this subordinate is dating little Tang." Qingye went into a slight daze for a moment. This Wei Chang claims to be my subordinate, so strange. However, after thinking about Yi Hua's identity, Qingye felt relieved. This Wei Chang might be Yi Hua's underling, which means that Wei Chang is my underling. When my husband's underling is in trouble, of course I have to help him. I know. Didn't you say it last time? Is it that Yi Hua is too stingy? I will go and talk to him. Upon thinking that Yi Hua was still using Wei Chang's salary in the past, Qingye felt helpless. Wei Chang was greatly startled. "I didn't say that his honor is stingy. Madam, you have misunderstood. Subordinate is not talking about this matter." "Then what is it?" "I feel that my relationship with Lil Tang can be improved, but I don't know where to start." Wei Chang was very embarrassed. He felt that he would lose face if he asked someone else, but asking his honor was equivalent to not asking at all. Thus, he could only ask the madam. Actually, Wei Chang asking Qingye was equivalent to asking in vain. After all, Qingye was also a newbie. This was the first time that Qingye had encountered this kind of problem, and she still didn't really understand what Wei Chang meant. "Improved? To what stage?" Qingye asked. Wei Chang let out a breath, then said in a low voice, "It is to reproduce offspring." "Uft. Reproduce offspring." This really made Qingye speechless. Isn't this phrase a little too appropriate? Qingye paused for a moment. This problem is a bit thorny. Thinking back to my own experience, I don't seem to have any process. Yi Hua just pushed me, then when the conditions were right, success would follow naturally. If that's the case, then I can conclude the strategy of a man. Qingye said with an appearance of someone who had been through the same thing. Wei Chang, a man has to take the initiative, he just has to push her down directly. Wei Chang, who had a face full of anticipation, immediately froze. His honor is like this. Even Madam gave the same answer. They really don't have any mood at all, just watch an idle drama, that romantic atmosphere. Seems like both his honor and Madam don't have any mood at all and went straight to the point. I, Wei Chang, am a man with mood. How can I be so casual about it? Seems like I can only rely on myself for this matter. Thank you, Madam, for your pointers. Qingye took a glance at the diligent Tang Wei and said, Lil Tang is a pretty good girl, don't let her down. This subordinate will follow Madam's instructions. Qingye really wasn't used to this kind of thing. Does everyone in the cultivation world speak like this? Goosebumps appeared all over his body. Sis, what are you guys talking about? Qing Yutong bounced down the stairs, and when Qingye saw her little sister's face, she immediately blushed with shame. Wei Chang bowed as a form of greeting before retreating. Qingye's eyebrows wrinkled. Why did you change into my appearance again? Big sister, you are beautiful. Qing Yutong held onto Qingye's willowy arm and said with a smile. What Qingye said was right. Qingye merely snorted. Not long after, Yi Hua walked down the stairs. This was the first time that Qing Yutong saw her brother-in-law wearing a short-sleeved shirt, and she teased, Brother-in-law, you are so childish. Yi Hua took a glare at Qingye, and the image of his main body was completely gone. With a smile on her face, Qingye walked forward and held onto her husband's arm. All right, let's go and cook hot pot. Qing Yutong immediately held onto her brother-in-law's other side. All right, let's go and prepare hot pot. Qing Yutong. What are you doing? What do you mean what? This is the etiquette of holding hands. Do you know? Big sister, you are out. Yi Hua would naturally seize the opportunity to take revenge. You are indeed out. Just you wait. The three walked out of leisure bar while bickering. Wei Chang looked at his honor and thought to himself, his honor's change is really big. This is all thanks to the madam. At this moment, Tang Wei walked over slowly and called out tenderly, Uncle Wei, Xiao Tang, what's wrong? Uncle Wei, the light at my side is broken. The light is broken, huh? It's fine. Uncle Wei will go and fix it for you after work. All right. Not far away from the alley, there was a hot pot restaurant called King Song's Mansion's Hot Pot Restaurant. The name King Song's Mansion wasn't just for show. In the past, only the nobles could afford to eat at the hot pot, and right now, everyone could feel how fast the nobles' mouths were. Luckily, Yi Hua and the others left the house early. If not, they would have to line up at the restaurant. Even so, there were no more private rooms left, and they could only eat at the main hall. If it was according to Yi Hua's conduct in the past, he definitely wouldn't eat at the main hall, because it would lower his status. However, it was different now. After all, he had done things that were lower than his status before. For example, at the beginning, when he bought a Chinese jianbing, for the sake of adding an extra egg, he even argued with the aunt for a long time. Add an extra egg for me. 1 egg is 2 RMB. You still want money? It is your honor to be able to eat at your restaurant. Young fellow, it is your honor to be able to eat my Chinese jianbing. Yi Hua expressed that he was unconvinced. After arguing for half an hour, the aunt finally said, "Don't think that just because you are handsome, you can do whatever you want. Aunt is also beautiful before, I don't fall for this." Chapter 113. As soon as the three of them sat down, they immediately became the center of attention. A man with a pair of beautiful twins was simply inhumane. They were so beautiful that there was no bottom line. Qing Yutong picked up the menu and muttered, "The shop owner of this shop is selling top-grade beef rolls, shrimp sliders, and tripe. Just listening to it is enough to make one drool. Just order whatever you want, big sister will treat you." Qingye was very generous. In any case, she could be considered as someone who was poor to the point that she only had money left. Qing Yutong rolled her eyes at her big sister. "Even if I were to eat here for my entire life, I still wouldn't be able to finish spending your money." "Yutong, you've already taken your photo. If you still plan to stay at your brother-in-law's place, you'll have to pay for your living expenses. Big sister, why are you the same as brother-in-law? Both of you are so stingy." Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth and said, "Even though you have so much money, you still want to collect living expenses." Yi Hua was unjustly implicated. "When have I been petty? You still say you're not stingy? Brother-in-law, why don't you take out the meat from that day and eat it? You can only eat it once a week." Yi Hua said faintly, "I don't want to eat it once a week. I want to eat it every day." When the customers that were sitting around heard Qing Yutong's complaint, they almost wanted to flip the table. "I can't endure it." Her sister-in-law wanted meat, but her brother-in-law said that he would only allow it once a week. Her sister-in-law was not happy and wanted it every day. The main point was that the older sister was smiling without saying a word. How could she mess around like this? F***CK, where are my Italian cannons? Bombard this affectionate couple. Yi Hua said faintly, not giving. As expected, the sound of chopsticks breaking resounded around them. His sister-in-law was not satisfied, but as her brother-in-law, he refused to give it to her. "Let go of sister-in-law and let me do it." Although she was angry, especially when she saw the indifferent look on that man's face, she felt that he was simply inhumane. How could a person resist the temptation of such a beautiful sister-in-law? In actuality, Yi Hua felt that after being hugged by a woman like Qingye to sleep every day, he would naturally become immune to it. Some people did not win at the starting line, but directly appeared at the finishing line. Right when the three of them were waiting for the dishes to be served, a boy suddenly ran in and found a table that was not far away from Yi Hua. And that table just happened to be occupied by a man and a woman. Qing Yutong said sneakily, "I think this boy is definitely here to catch adultery." "How did you know?" Yi Hua asked faintly. Qing Yutong pointed outside. "Just now I saw him riding a bicycle over." Just when Qing Yutong finished speaking, the voice of a boy could be heard from the other side. "You, why did you do this to me? I used a bicycle to pick you up for 3 years. This man will pick you up in a Bentley for 3 days. You want to break up with me? Are you worthy of me?" The girl said apologetically, "I'm sorry actually, when he came to pick me up on the first day, I was all ready." The man clutched his chest and retreated weakly. He didn't expect that he had overestimated himself. It turned out that he didn't need 3 days. 1 day was enough. After witnessing everything, Yi Hua said faintly, "Snow White told us one thing, 7 shits are not comparable to a kiss from a tall, rich and handsome man. Qinya rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. Humph humph, what should I say then? It can only mean that you have good eyesight. Yi Hua said with a faint smile. Narcissistic. Brother-in-law, you have also watched Snow White before? Upon hearing about cartoons, Qin Yutong became interested. Yi Hua said faintly, I have. It was too realistic, so I didn't watch it a second time. Bang. Just as Yi Hua was about to discuss about Snow White's plot with Qin Yutong, that boy was knocked onto the ground by a punch from the tall, rich and handsome man. And that girl just couldn't bear to watch on and looked outside the window. Yi Hua, that boy is so pitiful. Yi Hua took a look. Weaklings are not worthy of sympathy. If the boy who fell onto the ground fought back, Yi Hua would still feel that this boy was not bad. But he didn't. He just covered his face and used his gaze to kill the boy without moving. Qinya, put away your sympathy. Yi Hua began his lesson. Qinya snorted. Why don't you have any sympathy at all? Did you stew that dog of yours? I wanted to stew it a long time ago. Yi Hua said faintly. It's just that when a bone dragon is stewed, it really doesn't taste good. Suddenly, Qin Yutong slammed onto the table, startling Yi Hua and Qinya. Qin Yutong could be seen standing up with a righteous look, pointing at the rich second generation and shouted, How can you hit someone? Even if he is uglier than you. But hitting someone is also wrong. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched, and Qinya directly covered her face. Are you going to help someone, or are you going to hit someone when they are down? Master is being an idiot again. Yutong, what are you doing? Sit down. Qinya persuaded, fearing that her little sister would cause trouble. Qin Yutong snorted. Big sister, you don't have to persuade me. Helping the weak is everyone's responsibility. The boy who fell onto the ground originally didn't feel that it was shameful, but after being scolded by Qin Yutong, he immediately felt his face getting hot, wishing that he could find a hole to hide in. Yi Hua said, All right, if Yutong wants to act cool, then just let her go. It's fine if you don't care about it. But you even allowed her to act recklessly. You can go too. Last time when we were buying a house, weren't you very good at acting cool? Yi Hua laughed lightly, but this angered Qinya quite a bit. The child in my stomach will definitely be born with fire attribute. Yi Hua, do you want to quarrel with me here? Do you still remember what you called me that night? Qinya immediately admitted defeat and scolded Yi Hua for being shameless, for always using this joke. Qin Yutong walked forward and helped up the boy whose face was completely red. And when the boy saw that it was actually such a beautiful woman who stood up for him, he felt like he was about to become drunk. Just that, the next sentence that Qin Yutong said almost made the boy vomit blood. Little brother, don't be afraid. With your short arms and legs, you are definitely not his opponent. Let me do it. Don't speak. I know what you are feeling right now. Although you are poor and short, if not, your girlfriend wouldn't have abandoned you. This time, I will stand up for you. In the future, you just have to get used to it. Qin Yutong patted onto the boy's shoulder and said earnestly. The boy's heart was about to collapse. Big sister, can you please leave? I would rather be punched by you than to be talked about so miserably by you. Don't pull me. I want to leave. I want to go home. Yi Hua, quickly go and pull her back. Qinya couldn't bear to watch anymore. Can't you all see that boy's face changing between white and red? I'm really worried that he might suddenly die. Qinya suddenly remembered that Yi Hua had taught me a set of first aid techniques. Last time, that person vomited blood, and was still able to be dealt with by me. Seems like if there really isn't any other choice, I can only go out myself. Yi Hua was also amused by his sister-in-law. It's pretty good. Yutong is very warm-hearted. How is she warm-hearted? She is more of a hindrance than a help. Qinya held onto her forehead. This is such a headache. The boy's ex-girlfriend couldn't bear to watch anymore. This beautiful lady, don't make things difficult for him anymore. In actuality, he isn't very short. Chapter 114. Not only the girl, everyone who heard it was stupefied as well. So it wasn't a problem of money, but rather, it was really short. The boy couldn't take it anymore and shed tears of regret. This is even more painful than breaking up. I thought that she is vain, but it turns out that she doesn't, she just dislikes me. And even said it out. Qin Yutong seemed to know something and was a bit embarrassed as she said while stammering. About that, you don't have to be too discouraged. Think about those men who suffered from erectile dysfunction. Do you feel better after thinking about it? Immediately, the faces of a few middle-aged men in the hall stiffened. The boy seemed as if he was struck by lightning. His girlfriend ran away with a rich second generation, and furthermore, it wasn't for money. This is a shame for a man, and he was even exposed by a kind-hearted beauty. I originally thought that I was desperate enough, but I didn't expect that I underestimated despair. The boy covered his face and ran away desperately. This time, he was even more injured than when he just came in. Sorry for disturbing you. Qin Yutong turned around and left. Originally, I still wanted to stand up for the boy, but in the end, the boy had a hardware problem. This is too miserable. The tall, rich and handsome smiled and did not plan to pursue the matter, appearing like a gentleman. Returning back to her seat, Qin Yutong's pretty face was slightly red. She was extremely beautiful, but this kind of beauty carried a bit of foolishness. Qinya was different, her beauty was noble. Now you know how to be embarrassed, you also have to worry about other people's family matters. Qinya reprimanded. Qin Yutong pouted her cherry lips. I am just helping out when I see injustice. You are just stabbing at the back when you see injustice. Yihua added a sentence. What Yihua said is right, can you change your foolish temperament? Qinya poked her little sister's forehead unhappily, and the latter touched her forehead pitifully. Humph, in any case, the two of you are just joining hands to bully me, this single dog. Qin Yutong could only vent her anger on the food, as if she had not eaten for a few days, causing the surrounding people to be stupefied. A beauty is a beauty, even if it is this kind of crazy eating, there is still another kind of beauty, bold and unrestrained. Qinya was different, she was noble and elegant, and she even had to help Yihua to wash the hot pot, as if this had already become a habit, and Yihua only had to pick up the food that Qinya passed to him. Not bad, not bad. Qinya still did not deviate from her own wishes. While the three of them were eating hot pot, the surrounding customers left one batch after another, and then another batch came. Just that, this batch of customers made Yihua and Qin Yutong feel a bit curious. Why did so many cultivators suddenly appear? Or could it be said that they are espers, or could it be said that they are ancient martial artists? Who knows? In any case, in Yihua's eyes, they are nothing more than humans. They were just humans of a slightly higher level. Sitting next to him were four middle-aged men who were chatting animatedly. I heard that many sect disciples from the south have come to Long'an City. It's not just the sect disciples. The ancient martial families, the special ability world, and the cultivation world will all be here in the next 2 days. I wonder if the North will intervene this time. If they do, it will be another bloody battle. How dare the Northerners? The last time an ancient godly item appeared, we didn't even intervene. How would small characters like us know about the inside story? Perhaps you wouldn't even know if we interfered. Ancient godly item, just the name alone makes me excited. I wonder if it will be a weapon, an equipment, or a magic tool. Do you guys know? I heard that Xiao Yi had a narrow victory last night, and it was even under the situation where he took out Xianyuan's sword. The scene of the battle was just like doomsday. I wonder who Xiao family's family had provoked to actually be so tyrannical. Fortunately, Xiao Yi wasn't killed. If not, the North would be in chaos. I also heard that Nangong Cini announced that she would stay at home to recuperate, and the few companies under the Dragon God Corporation were even transferred. This was told to me by one of my higher-ups. There is definitely some kind of shocking secret within. Sigh, the world of the rich is still not like that. Xiao family's family head is having fun every day. Do you think that just because you have money, you will be as happy as you imagined? No, you are wrong. The happiness of the rich is something that you simply cannot imagine. When Yihua, Qinya, and Qin Yutong heard what Xiao Yi said, they felt that it was very reasonable. You all simply cannot imagine. The world of the rich is to order takeout every day and eat chicken when you wake up. However, this was the first time that Qin Yutong heard of this matter, and with a face filled with curiosity, she asked, "Brother-in-law, did Xiao Yi really pay back the money?" Ask your big sister. Big sister, what happened? I just went out, and such a big thing happened? Qin Yutong asked anxiously. For a person like Xiao Yi to pay back the money, does he not want his face anymore? Qin Yi said faintly, he paid back the money with 3 companies. Wow. Brother-in-law, you are awesome. Qin Yutong exclaimed in admiration. In the past, people like Xiao Yi would often act cool and bully people, and I didn't expect that he would fall into the hands of her brother-in-law. Yihua picked up the piece of beef that Qin Yi passed over. It's just a small matter. Brother-in-law, you are acting cool again. Tell me about the process. You didn't even ask me to go and check the accounts. You are not a good friend. Yihua said faintly, small matters like checking accounts can be left to the servants. Qin Ye and Qin Yutong took a look at each other, acting cool again. Yihua, is the ancient godly item that they are talking about the treasure that they talked about last time? Ah, big sister, what treasure are you talking about? Why are you all hiding it from me and not bringing me along to play? Qin Yutong pouted her small mouth, just like a little child. In actuality, Yihua was also a bit curious about the ancient godly item. After all, Yihua had a hobby of collecting things, and inside the ring on his finger, there were a lot of weapons and equipment, and they were all spoils of war that Yihua collected. However, if Yihua were to know about the might of Xianyuan's sword, he would rather stay at home and watch the movie. Do you want to go and take a look? Yihua asked faintly. Yes. Yes. Yihua thought for a while. Let's treat it as a field trip then. Wow, such a big matter, brother-in-law. You actually treat it as a field trip. Your acting cool is not bad. Qin Yutong smiled cutely. Yihua couldn't help but stretch out his hand and knocked on Qin Yutong's head. Impudent. Brother-in-law, it hurts. Qin Yutong rubbed her head and said pitifully. Qin Ye smiled sweetly. Serves you right, for daring to tease your brother-in-law when he is acting cool. Bang! Qin Yutong immediately laughed. Haha, you are still teasing me, brother-in-law, well done. Yihua. Just you wait. What are you waiting for? Quickly go and settle the bill, let's go home. Humph. The surrounding men looked at Yihua, then looked at the tigress in front of them. Other people's wives and sisters-in-law sure are good. I can casually beat them up, and after beating them up, they can even act coquettishly. However, those are all other people's wives. After dinner, the 3 of them took a stroll on the street, and Qin Yutong even bought some small accessories and wore them happily. Chapter 115. Returning back to Leisure Bar, it was already around 10 p.m. However, right after walking into the bar, Yihua felt that the business today was pretty good. The bar was almost full, just that most of the people that were sitting in the bar were men, and there were very few women. You 2 go up first. Yihua said faintly. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? Bring me along to play. Qin Ye pulled onto her little sister and said disdainfully. What else can he do? He is just acting cool. Let's go and eat chicken. Let's see if little Ali is online or not. Little Ali is much more reliable than him. Hearing that his own woman was talking about little Ali again, Yihua's mood immediately became bad again. Being brought along to eat chicken by a child. That is because you all don't know, the moment I release my strength, even I will be afraid. And right now, I am only playing with the physique of an ordinary human. I feel disdain to go and cheat. Little Ali is definitely cheating. If it was my child, I would definitely smack his butt. You are still cheating when playing with humans, shame on you. Walking into the bar counter, under everyone's peculiar gaze, Yihua mixed a cup of pitch-black alcohol that looked like cola. Alright, in actuality, it is just cola. The difference is that it has alcohol in it. Holding on to the special cola, Yihua sat on the empty seat at the side and sized up everyone. It was very obvious that these people were not ordinary people. Your Honor. Wei Chong walked over slowly. Call Lai Gu over, I have something to say. Yes. 5 seconds later, a handsome guy who was wearing a school uniform walked in from the door. His face was brimming with a strong sense of confidence, but after seeing Yihua, his confidence immediately turned into a smile. Your Honor, Lai Gu called out. Yihua sized up Lai Gu, then said with a frown, What have you been doing recently? Subordinate is following your honor's orders to experience human nature, and reading is also a very good way to experience human nature. Lai Gu said in a small voice. His confidence was a little lacking. Wei Chong added. Lai Gu only went to school to expand his harem. Gluttonous monster. That's where you're wrong. I'm in a serious relationship, okay? Wei Chong laughed lightly. Just a few days after entering school, you started fighting and snatching women. As your father, I am having a headache. What do you mean? Yihua asked curiously. Wei Chong said. Your Honor, Lai Gu started fighting right after entering school. Doesn't that mean that we need to call his parents? Subordinate and Xiao Tang just so happened to be on a date. So Subordinate went to pretend to be Lai Gu's parents. Haha. Yihua laughed out loud. Lai Gu said angrily. I swear, I will quit school tomorrow, it's boring. Yihua coughed lightly. It's up to you. However, what I want to say is that after a few days, everyone should go out and have a walk together. It has already been 5 years, and we have yet to go out together. Thinking back to the past, Wei Chong and Lai Gu's expression changed. They knew that his honor was thinking about the time in the past. Back then, the 8 of them had traveled all over the world, and the notoriety that they made shook the entire world. Back then, his honor had been holed up in this small leisure bar for 5 years, and back then he didn't even leave the leisure bar at all. After Madam came, his honor had left the leisure bar a lot more times, and right now, he even had the thought of going out together with us. Your Honor. Your Honor. In actuality, both Wei Chong and Lai Gu understood that his honor definitely missed the other 5 sins a lot. In actuality, it wasn't that his honor didn't want to look for the other 5 sins, rather he was afraid that his honor would be disappointed if he found them. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Recently, there are a lot of people in Long'an City, and all of them are here for the sake of buying ancient godly items. On one hand, this trip is to relax, and on the other hand, this trip is also to take a look at what kind of thing an ancient godly item is. A hint of coldness appeared on Lai Gu's face. Your Honor, this time since they have gathered together, how about we take them all out at once? Wei Chong stretched out his hand and knocked on Lai Gu's head. Do you think that his honor is still the same as before? Subordinate knows his mistake. Yihua picked up the wine cup and took a sip, then said faintly, rather than us taking them all out at once, we might as well let them kill each other. Your honor is wise. Your honor is wise. Wei Chong and Lai Gu thought of a problem at the same time. If his honor had this kind of brain back then, how could he have possibly been exterminated? He would have long toyed with the humans in the palm of his hand. Bang! The sound of a wine bottle shattering suddenly rang out, and a burly man could be seen standing up and shouting out. Fuck, what kind of bullshit music is this? Give me an explosive one. Yihua silently looked towards that table, then stood up and said faintly, the 2 of you settle this. All of you are here to test the waters. Don't be too ruthless. If you are too ruthless, you won't be able to play anymore in the future. Yes. Yes. Yihua unhurriedly walked towards the table. Just when he walked in, he felt that something was amiss. Thinking back to what happened last night, I reckon that these people were sent by some humans to test the waters. Since that's the case, let's have some fun then. Rather than killing people, I might as well look at the other party's astonished gaze or look of disbelief. This was a kind of sublimation. Yihua's hands were already stained with the blood of countless humans, and killing people was no longer able to bring joy to his heart. Toying with the other party, then admiring the other party's astonished expression, that kind of feeling was able to cause a slight ripple to surface in Yihua's heart. No matter if it was Xiao Yi or Long Outyin, Yihua was waiting for them to grow. When they felt that they had the strength, only then would they realize that despair had just begun. Wei Chong and Lai Gu looked at his honor's imposing back view and couldn't help but feel worship. His honor is becoming more and more like a human. I believe that not long from now, his honor will gather the 7 deadly sins and kill his way back. Toying with those conceited overlords in the palm of his hand. This feeling is much more satisfying than killing them. Gluttonous monster, how about we compete? Wei Chong laughed. What do you want to compete? Don't humans like to act cool? Let us compete and see who is better at acting cool. Lai Gu grinned, revealing his spotlessly white teeth. Sure, but do not disrupt his honor's plan. If everyone is afraid of us, his honor is going to stew you. Lai Gu scratched the back of his head. His honor has said this sentence for a few hundred years. There is only thunder and no rain. Oh. Then, how about I help you pass on the message? I was just joking, look at you, you actually took it seriously. TSK tisk TSK. Leisure Bar was a bit chaotic right now, and some of the security guards went over to stop them. However, how could they be a match for the security guards? In an instant, they were all knocked onto the ground. Those who are not important, scram out of here, if not, bear the consequences yourself. The burly man shouted out arrogantly. This shout of his was indeed effective. All of the ordinary people ran out of the bar, but there were still half of the people who didn't leave. The burly man didn't go and shout out. Seems like he still had some idea of what was going on. Oi, how can you be like this? This is Leisure Bar, right? If you want to go to the disco, go to another bar. Tang Wei could be seen suddenly rushing out, standing in front of the burly man, and questioning him. The burly man was 2 meters tall, while Tang Wei was only 1.65 meters tall. The sharp contrast made others feel that Tang Wei was just like a little doll. Gluttonous monster, this girlfriend of yours has quite a personality. Lai Gu rubbed onto Wei Chang's shoulder and said with a smile. Wei Chang looked at his girlfriend and said with a smile. And Xiao Tang indeed has quite a personality. Although she looks soft and weak on the surface, she has courage on the inside. That girlfriend of yours is about to be bullied. Why aren't you, as her boyfriend, doing anything? Lai Gu asked curiously. Wei Chang looked at the beautiful figure on the stage, and black light flickered within his eyes. Right now, Xiao Tang is no longer considered as a human. F***K, gluttonous monster, you are so perverted. Aren't those 3 celebrities of yours the same? They were nourished by your dragon aura. Wei Chang teased. Lai Gu spread out his hands. What can I do? These are all side effects. I will just treat it as nurturing 3 subordinates who can fight and warm the bed. After all, his honor is currently on vacation. That's true, when his honor finishes his vacation, the bloody moment will arrive. Chapter 116. The burly man looked at Tang Wei, who was in front of him, and revealed an evil smile. He stretched out his dirty hand, wanting to touch Tang Wei's face. That tender and pure white skin would definitely be very pleasurable to touch. The burly man's 3 friends revealed a playful smile. Taking liberties with beauties was something that they often did, especially this pure beauty. Just now, there were even 2 super beauties that went up. Perhaps they could take liberties with her. However, this time, they took liberties with the wrong person. If it was the previous Tang Wei, she would definitely be taken liberties with. However, the current Tang Wei was Wei Chang's girlfriend. Her status was rising up by sitting on a star-class aircraft carrier. Furthermore, her primordial spirit that was processed by Wei Chang was also injected into her body. Not mentioning anything else, Tang Wei's current strength was enough to exchange blows with Death Mage. Looking at those dirty big hands, Tang Wei used her hands to block them out of conditioned reflex. And it was even the kind where her eyes were closed. The entire place instantly became quiet. Even if a thin needle were to drop onto the ground, one would be able to hear it. Tang Wei closed her eyes. There was no disgusting touch coming from her face. She carefully opened her eyes and discovered that everyone was looking at her dumbfoundedly. Tang Wei immediately became muddle-headed. The burly man that was in front of her just now had already disappeared. Tang Wei was very puzzled. Could it be that he ran away? The burly man's other 3 friends came back to their senses, and one of them shouted out, "Brothers, attack!" Tang Wei's expression was panicked as she took a step back, but the 3 burly men were already closing in on her. Ah! Tang Wei let out an ear-piercing scream. All of the glass cups shattered. The expressions of the 3 burly men congealed. Blood appeared on their ears. They were obviously injured, but they still attacked towards the weak Tang Wei. After screaming, Tang Wei closed her eyes and started punching and kicking, just like how a girl would punch the air when she saw a ghost. The entire place became quiet again, and some people started discussing in low voices. If I didn't see wrongly, could it be that those 4 burly men just now were the Jiangnan 4 marshals? It seems to be true. I heard that their strength is not bad. How did they get sent flying by a girl? This shop sure is mysterious. Could it be that this girl is the black-robed man that fought with Xiao Yi last night? Big brother, don't say any more, I'm scared, Lai Gu sighed. Gluttonous monster, you should at least teach your girlfriend some moves, this is too embarrassing. I feel that Tang Wei's fist technique was executed beautifully. Wei Chong smiled faintly and slowly walked forward. Coming to Tang Wei's side, Wei Chong patted the startled Tang Wei. Unexpectedly, Tang Wei threw a punch with a backhand, and Wei Chong easily caught it. Little Tang, it's me. Ah. Uncle Wei. Tang Wei immediately pounced into Wei Chang's embrace. She was scared to death. The 4 handsome generals of Jiangnan expressed that they were the ones who were scared to death. You murderer. Wei Chong lightly caressed Tang Wei's back. All right, don't be afraid. Uncle Wei, was I very violent just now? The people around him sucked in a cold breath. Dare I ask, miss, if this isn't violence, then what is? He's been beaten into the wall by you and can't be pulled out. He's stuck. Wei Chong comforted him. It's not violent at all. Go and take the waiters away. Let's get off work early today. Oh, all right. Not long later, the security guards and waiters of the bar all left. Lai Gu leaned on the bar counter and looked at Wei Chang's performance. Wei Chong looked at the 20-odd people present and asked, Are you all here to cause trouble? Everyone remained silent. Just now, you easily caught that girl's fist, right now. Who would dare to say that we are here to cause trouble? Looking around, everyone was sitting perfectly straight. I reckon that when they were studying, they didn't even sit so straight, so serious, and so afraid. After all, these people were all small fries, and the reason why they were sent here was just to probe. However, none of them wanted to be stuck inside the wall. Lai Gu shook his head helplessly. What is there to play? A bunch of grown men are just like elementary school students. Lai Gu shouted coldly. Who asked you all to come? Let them come and get the girl. If not, don't even think about seeing tomorrow's sun. What if it rains tomorrow? Wei Chong turned his head around and asked. Lai Gu went into a daze. This is truly a problem. What do you think we should do? How about we just say that we shouldn't expect to see tomorrow's sun and rain? Wei Chong suggested. Lai Gu slightly frowned. Then what if tomorrow is cloudy? Everyone. Then don't wait until tomorrow, it's too troublesome. How about 1 hour later? Wei Chong said. That's not a bad idea. The 20+ people who were sitting were all stupefied. Big brother, what are you all doing? We agreed to wait until tomorrow. Why did you all change your mind? Who cares if tomorrow is rainy or cloudy? We are people from Cloud Sect. We are people from Traceless Pavilion. You dare to try and touch us? We are people from Loud Thunder Sect. If you are sensible, then let us go. We are people from Dry Zen Sect. We want to go home. We are people from South Alliance. We forgot to turn off the gas in our house. If there is a fire, can you take responsibility? The people from Cloud Sect were very good at stirring up the atmosphere. And in an instant, the atmosphere became heated up. If you don't let us go home, we will die in front of you. Wei Chong took a deep breath. You over there, where is your house? I will call the fire department for you. There is no need to worry. If you all want to go home, you all need your parents to come and get you. If not, you all will die. Wei Chong continued. Lai Gu placed both of his hands into his pockets and walked to the middle of the room, then said, If you all don't recognize me as your boss, I will teach you all how to comb your hair in the middle. After finished speaking, Lai Gu even touched his hair. His hairstyle mustn't be messed up. The 20+ people below were about to collapse. Just what kind of weirdo is this? His words are clearly so childish, yet he is leaking out a terrifying aura, causing those childish words to be more effective than any kind of threat. Too terrifying. Lai Gu shouted coldly. What are you all still in a daze for? Wait for me to treat you all to spicy hot pot. Call the fire department. Everyone didn't dare to be rash. Call the fire department right now. You all will regret it. In actuality, these 5 big powers were very powerful existences in the south. There was no need to talk about Cloud Sect. They were located at the periphery of Long, and city in the cultivation world. The members of South Alliance were all people with special abilities. They were a power that couldn't be underestimated. Traceless Pavilion was located at the southwest. The parasitic insects that they raised were also ever-changing. The people in the circle of parasitic insects didn't dare to interact with them too much, fearing that they might accidentally be poisoned by the parasitic insects. Loud Thunder sect belonged to the ancient martial arts sect. Their moves were superb, and their sect master was someone who could fight against Xiao Yi one-on-one. The prerequisite was that Xiao Yi didn't use Xianyuan sword. Dry Zen sect also belonged to the cultivation world. Their strength wasn't that great, but they were experts in using medicine. Of course, this was only the strength of sects and sects. There were still powerful families in the south whose strength was comparable to Xiao family, just like Wang Debao, just that, they didn't come today. As for why they didn't come, perhaps they received the news of Lai Gu's arrival, and these 5 idiots came here to test the waters, and became the cannon fodder of Lai Gu. The call went through, but I still have to wait. Lai Gu is very bored. At this time, I can already enjoy the service of a big celebrity on the bed. Gluttonous monster, do you want to play landlord? We are missing one. Wei Chong said. Lai Gu looked towards the 20+ people below. Play landlord over. I will let you go if you win. The people below first went into a daze for a moment, then began to fight with each other, almost starting a fight. Chapter 117. After a round of fighting, a hero from the Dry Zen sect won. This person was rather thin and weak, but to be able to win in front of so many people, it was clear that he had other strong points. Lai Gu arranged the seats properly, then Wei Chong took out the poker cards, then the 3 of them sat down. Wei Chong smiled and asked, "What's your name?" "I'm Xiangyong." Lai Gu laughed. "Your name doesn't match your physique at all." Xiangyong rubbed his nose in embarrassment. "I used to be very strong, but I've become skinny after refining medicine." Wei Chong began to shuffle the cards, and Lai Gu took out a comb and brushed it left and right, then took out a small mirror and looked at it. After he was satisfied, he kept the comb. "You know how to play Fight the Landlord, right?" Of course. When I'm bored, I'll also spar with my disciples," Xiangyong said with a silly smile. Wei Chong took out 3 bottles of beer, 1 for each of them. Xiangyong was very touched. He didn't expect them to be so nice. They even had beer to drink, and it was even beer. After shuffling the cards, Wei Chong smiled and said, "If you win, I will let you go." Thank you very much. Xiangyong was very happy. "In the future, I will not come to this leisure bar anymore. This is a den of bandits." "Then what if we win?" Lai Gu asked back, then opened the beer cap and drank a small mouthful. Burp. Xiangyong was shocked and didn't know how to reply. Lai Gu patted onto Xiangyong's shoulder. "How about this? If we win, we will chop off one of your limbs, and if you win once, you can leave." Xiangyong's expression changed drastically. Even the people below couldn't help but take a step back. Too savage. It's easy to offend people like this. Xiangyong regretted coming out. But the arrow was already knocked on the bowstring and had to be released. "Then you can't cheat." Lai Gu spread out his hands. "Do we look like people who would cheat?" Looking at Wei Chong and Lai Gu's sincere face, Xiangyong believed them. At the start of the first round, Xiangyong appeared to be very nervous. Even his hand that was grabbing the cards was trembling, and the 20+ people that were watching the game did not even dare to let out a sound. The 4 marshals of Jiangnan who were stuck in the wall simply pretended to be dead. "You guys can't see me." Xiangyong picked up the flipped cards. This was the fate of the host, but he still had to look at the cards. Wei Chong and Lai Gu looked at their own cards and wrinkled their brows. On the other hand, Xiangyong looked at his own cards and revealed a smile. "All the trump cards are in my hands, and there are also various kinds of big cards. Let's see how you are going to win." Next, Xiangyong started to perform. Lai Gu and Wei Chong refused all kinds of things, as if they had made up their mind to let Xiangyong go. 2. Lai Gu finally took out a card. King Bomb. Haha, I only have 1 card left. Thank you, big brothers, for helping me. Xiangyong finally heaved a sigh of relief. Even the heavens wanted to let him go. Wei Chang shouted in a deep voice. Wait! Xiong was taken aback, and so were the audience. Was he going to go back on his word? Flush 2 King Red Bomb. Wei Chang played a pair of red 2s. Other than Lai Gu, everyone was stupefied. What kind of operation is this? Xiong gripped the 2 kings in his hands tightly. He was in a bad mood. He squeezed out a smile and said, Big brother, this is not good. Lai Gu drank a mouthful of wine. Just now I asked you if you know how to play landlord, and you said that you know how to play it. What, are you trying to go back on your words? Do you believe that I will chop you into pieces right now? Don't, I understand. Xiong could only hope that they had a single card in their hands, and let him go. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were not fools, knowing that you have a 2 in your hands. Would you still put a single card in your hands? Without any suspense, Xiong lost the first round. Gluttonous monster. Where did you put the knife? Oh, there is a fruit knife under the bar counter. Lai Gu took out the fruit knife and placed it on the table. Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want us to do it? Xiong gasped for breath. What should I do? I can't win against them. If I resist, I will die. If I lose an arm, at least I will have a chance to win again. Since I have already gambled, I can only continue. You guys go ahead. Xiong took out a medicinal pill and prepared to stop the bleeding. Lai Gu took the fruit knife and twirled it in a fancy manner. With a flash of silver light, Xiong's left arm fell onto the ground and blood sprayed out violently. Xiong was also a man. Without making a sound, he continuously tapped on his acupuncture points with his right hand and swallowed the medicinal pill. Then he took out a small bottle and sprinkled the powder onto the wound. Wei Chang thought that it was some kind of divine medicine, but it turned out to be Yunnan Baiyao. After doing all these, Xiong's pale face gradually became rosy. The 20-plus people below revealed looks of fear. This is basically not letting him go, but rather, he wants to kill him one slash at a time, and he actually believed it. Next, it was Lai Gu's turn to shuffle the cards, and Xiong only grabbed the cards with one hand. Although it was a bit slow, Wei Chang and Lai Gu expressed that they understood. Xiong became the host again, and he had extremely good cards. Not only was it a king bomb, there was also a flush 2 king bombs. It was an existence that was even more awesome than a king bomb. Furthermore, it was a black flower. Even if they had a red flower, how could a red flower be as big as a black flower? The atmosphere in the hall was very strange, causing people to tremble with fear. Xiong felt that he would definitely win this game. He had 2 bombs and a 3. King bomb. Xiong shouted in a deep voice. His aura was extraordinary. Lai Gu took out a pair of 2s. Flush 2 king bomb. Flush 2 king bomb black bomb. Xiong's face turned sinister. How satisfying is this? Now you guys have nothing to say, right? Wei Chang and Lai Gu did not make a sound. Seems like they approved of this method of playing. This made Xiong heave a sigh of relief. If I rush to the hospital now, I can still reattach my arm. A pair of 3s. Wei Chang threw out a pair of 3s. The hall fell into silence. What kind of F** king place is this? Fight the landlord? It can even be played like this. Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily you have a pair of 3s. I only have 1 3. Xiong's broken arm began to bleed. His face became pale once again. Why can a pair of 3s eat a pair of 2s? If a pair of 3s don't eat a pair of 2s, then what do you eat? Lai Gu revealed a look of, you are an idiot. What a dig. Xiong actually had nothing to say. A silver light flashed, one of his legs landed on the ground, and Xiong immediately repeated his actions just now. However, this time his face did not turn red, instead, it became pale, even his lips became white. Under the table, a pool of blood had already flowed out. A faint smell of blood pervaded the air, causing people to involuntarily feel depressed. Let me shuffle the cards, Xiong said in a deep voice. Wei Chang generously passed the cards to Xiong, and Xiong shuffled the cards with one hand. Although it was slow, Wei Chang and Lai Gu did not rush him. What a pitiful person. He doesn't even know how to play the new version of Fight the Landlord. He is out. Back then, when his honor was bored, he would occasionally play Fight the Landlord, but his honor felt that it was too monotonous and needed to be flexible. In the end, Wei Chang and Lai Gu lost in all sorts of ways. Wei Chang almost lost all of his savings, and Lai Gu almost got stewed by his honor. The two swore that they would never fight the landlord with his honor again. This round, Xiongyong was the landlord again. If it was possible, Xiongyong did not want to be the landlord. However, when he saw that he had a pair of threes, and a pair of threes, his confidence came back. King. Wei Chang and Lai Gu shook their heads, causing Xiongyong to be overjoyed. Two of the same red. Two of the same black. Right now, Xiongyong only had 3 cards in his hand, and he shouted out, "A pair of black threes." Lai Gu unhurriedly took out 2 cards, a pair of 4s. Xiongyong sprayed out a mouthful of blood, and the blood dyed the poker card red. Xiongyong's eyes were wide open, and soon after, he fell onto the ground. After twitching for a bit, he no longer had any reaction. Lai Gu took out a comb and parted his hair. Someone died playing Fight the Landlord. Wei Chang let out a sigh. He said that he knows how to play. Chapter 118. Lai Gu raised his head and drank a mouthful of beer, then shouted out, "Who else wants to come?" Everyone revealed expressions of fear, and huddled together. No one was willing to come out. Going up to play would be a fate worse than death. The 4 marshals of Jiangnan, who were stuck on the wall, were smart enough to play dead. Wei Chang asked, "Why don't we change it?" Lai Gu remained silent for a while, then said, "When playing mahjong, 2 are missing. If you win, then you can leave." Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If Fight the Landlord could be played like that, wouldn't mahjong be even more brutal? Seeing that no one came out, Wei Chang coldly shouted, "Is there no one who knows?" Everyone was panic-stricken and shook their heads vigorously. Gluttonous monster. If it's simple, anyone can do it. Lai Gu, could it be that you are talking about that? Wei Chang's eyes lit up. Lai Gu revealed a mysterious smile. Wei Chang walked to the storeroom and quickly took out a big box. He smiled at everyone and said, "Happy aeroplane chess, do you want to know about it?" Seeing that gentle smile, everyone knew that this was definitely not happy aeroplane chess. It was more like death aeroplane chess. It was rare for Wei Chang and Lai Gu to have the mood to play such an easy game. Anyone would be able to play it. Since you two are not willing to come out, then I will just choose 2 of you to come out. Once again, a horrifying scene played out in the living room. Meanwhile, the main characters upstairs were completely unable to hear what was happening. The 2 sisters were currently eating chicken with little Ali. When Yihua entered the living room and heard that little Ali was inside, he decisively chose to lie on the bed and play with his phone. Qinya smiled and did not say anything. This man just wants to keep his face no matter what. Looking at how he is sulking, I really want to pinch his face. He is too cute. "Little Ali, is your mother not at home today?" Qin Yutong asked curiously. "Yes, many people came to look for mother today. Mother can't take care of Ali tonight." Ali's tender voice sounded from the headset. It was very pleasant to listen to. Qinya asked curiously, "Little Ali, did your mother spank you yesterday?" "Why would mother hit Ali? She only made Ali kneel on the keyboard." "It hurts," Ali said pitifully through the earpiece. When Qinya and Qin Yutong heard this, they immediately felt a wave of heartache. Their motherly love instantly overflowed, and they started criticizing Qinya. "Auntie, I'm actually very tired. Ali can understand. Little Ali is so sensible." Qinya's heart was completely intoxicated. Just how old is this child? If my own child is this sensible, that would simply be too great. Qin Yutong said tenderly, "Ali, if there's a chance, Aunt will treat you to McDonald's." "McDonald's? What is it?" Qin Yutong went into a daze. "Ali, could it be that you have never eaten McDonald's before?" "Can McDonald's be eaten? The name sounds so weird." Qinya asked, "Little Ali, where do you live?" "I also don't know where this place is," Ali said in confusion. If not for Ali being so sensible, Qinya and Qin Yutong would have thought that little Ali was kidnapped. "What does the surroundings look like?" Qin Yutong asked. "And there are clouds, there are waterfalls, there are palaces, there are also mountains, there are also people. However, None of them are playing with Ali, and all of them are afraid of Ali. What the hell was this place? The two sisters were dumbfounded. Could it be that little Ali was teasing them? Then why are they afraid of Ali? Ali is so cute, Qingye asked. Ali doesn't know either. Perhaps it is because of mother. Right now, Qingye and Qing Yutong were the ones who behaved like children, and their faces were filled with curiosity. Is Ali's mother very powerful? Qing Yutong asked. Speaking of her mother, Ali's tone was filled with pride. Of course, not only is Ali's mother beautiful, she is also very, very, very powerful. Qingye and Qing Yutong both smiled. Children were naturally biased towards their mother. But Ali can only see mother once at night. Mother doesn't have time to take care of Ali during the day, and doesn't even allow Ali to go out and play. Ali really wants to go out and take a look at the outside world. Auntie, is the outside world fun? Qing Yutong immediately began bragging, saying all kinds of delicious food and fun things to entice Ali. And after listening to Qing Yutong's description, Ali wanted to go out and take a look at the outside world even more. Qingye glared at her little sister. Ali, don't listen to her. You have to listen to mother, understand? And Ali understands. Where did uncle go today? Qingye smiled. Ali is too powerful. Uncle doesn't even dare to play with Ali anymore. Yihua immediately wrinkled his brows as he stared at Qingye. Try saying it again. I will slap your butt until it becomes swollen. Ah, so it's like this. Then Ali, you don't have to be so powerful and let uncle perform. Yihua naturally heard what Qingye said. Do I need a little child to perform for me? What a joke. Ali, uncle still doesn't dare to come. Qingye smiled lightly. Yihua snorted coldly. Who said that I don't dare to come? Auntie, is uncle coming? Ali asked curiously. And uncle is coming, we can play as a team. That's great. Ali likes to play with uncle. Yihua's expression sunk. I don't like to play with a brat like you. In the following period of time, little Ali was going to bring Yihua to eat chicken again. The fight upstairs was very intense, and the situation downstairs was the same as well. The smell of blood in the air was very dense, and the white dice were already dyed red by blood. Severed limbs were all around the dice, and the scene was too horrible to look at. The two men were only left with their bodies and a hand, and the two men were holding on to their last breath. Such a terrifying scene would cause a person's spirit to collapse. They weren't afraid of death, but after seeing such a way of death, only then did they know what it meant by living a life worse than death. Wei Chong and Lai Gu were drinking beer and playing games while waiting for the backstage to arrive. Wei Chong and Lai Gu didn't have the slightest bit of pity in their hearts. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have done what I did back then. To dare to come to His Honor's territory to test the waters. It is already not bad for me to have an intact corpse. Suddenly, the sound of brakes and hurried footsteps rang out from outside of the door. Everyone was overjoyed. Someone is finally here to save us. Cloud Sect's elder, Xing Kai, has arrived. South Alliance's elder, Gao Shuang, has arrived. Dry Zen Sect's elder, Yu Yingguang, has arrived. Strong Lightning Sect's elder, Wen Rui, has arrived. Traceless Pavilion's elder, Tu Rong, has arrived. The disciples of various sects could be seen walking in first and shouting out the name of their sect's elder loudly. However, when they saw the situation at the scene, their chests were heaving up and down. Ugh! Even the brows of the elders who walked in right after them were tightly knitted together. The other party is simply too savage, inhumane, and his methods are so cruel that it makes one's hair stand on end. Furthermore, the other party is completely not putting us and the others in his eyes at all. A small leisure bar dares to be so arrogant. However, when they thought about what happened last night, the elders' anger stopped for a moment. The reason why they sent people here today was to probe the other party. From the looks of it, that black robe from last night is most likely those two people. Even Xiao Yi only had a Pyrrhic victory, so how can the five of us be a match for the other party? Let the sect head come over and fight. But the sect head has an important matter to deal with right now, so how can he have the time to deal with such a small matter? Chapter 119. Elder, save me. I want to go home. One of the people who was currently playing happy aeroplane chess was slowly crawling, leaving behind a long trail of blood behind him. However, before he could even crawl to the front of his elder, he already stopped breathing, and the other person was also the same. The 5 elders were furious. How many years had it been? No one dared to kill their disciples in front of them. Even Xiao Yi only dared to teach them a lesson and didn't dare to kill them. But looking at the scene, there were 3 corpses, and not a single one was complete. It could be seen how cruel it was. There were also the 20 female disciples, some of whom were scared out of their wits. It could be seen how terrifying the scene just now was. Wei Chang and Lai Gu discussed in a low voice. Lai Gu, should we get rid of them and attract even bigger ones? Right now, Wei Chang had learned how to think, and he carried out his honor's thoughts. What his honor wants isn't to get rid of them. If we were to get rid of all of them, what would be the point? Is that so? Didn't we kill them all before? Can the past be compared to the present? We are people. Killing people is wrong. We will have to go to jail. Wei Chang shouted in a low voice. Lai Gu looked at the 3 corpses on the ground, and silently nodded his head. I feel that what Lai Gu said is very reasonable. Why did the 2 of you kill my disciple? Yu Yingguang, the elder of the Dry Zen sect, shouted. Lai Gu gulped down the beer in his hand, then stood out and said, Burp, why? Old man, your people ran into my territory and behaved atrociously. It's already good enough that I only killed 3 of them. Besides, they died waiting for you. Yu Yingguang's expression changed. Waiting for us? Of course, what do you think? Lai Gu took out the comb once again, and brushed left and right. That strange smile of his caused people's hearts to turn cold, and that strange split in the middle caused people to tremble with fear. Gao Shuang of the Southern Alliance said in a deep voice, What are you trying to do? Wei Chang slowly walked out. Actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to warn everyone that this is a bar, not a bar. Traceless Pavilion's elder Tu Rong asked faintly, We have received your warning. Can we leave now? It's not good to leave just like that, right? Lai Gu said with a smile. Elder Wen Rue of the Rising Thunder sect shouted coldly, What do you want? Don't think that we're afraid of you. Lai Gu spread out his hands and said slowly, I will give you all a chance to take revenge. Everyone was shocked. What were these 2 people trying to do? Are they crazy? Or were they overly confident in their own strength? Wei Chang smiled and said, Those who come are guests, take out your abilities. You can choose between the 2 of us. No matter what the result is, you can take your people away. The hearts of the disciples were startled. Elder, please don't agree. They are too shameless. They have no bottom line. But if they wanted to leave, they still had to rely on the elders. The subordinates didn't say anything. I'll go first. Dry Zen sect's elder Yu Yingguang stepped forward. The other 4 elders heaved a sigh of relief. Yu Yingguang's strength was not much, but he was an expert in using poisons. It seemed that the 2 of them had overestimated themselves. It was a good opportunity to test their strength. With a smile on his face, Wei Chang and Lai Gu allowed the other party to choose. Yu Yingguang pointed at Lai Gu and shouted. Lai Gu patted onto Wei Chang's shoulder. Gluttonous monster, I'll go up first. Wei Chang shook his head. Old man, how do you want to play? You set the question. Lai Gu tidied up his hair and asked indifferently. Yu Yingguang's expression was stern. My Dry Zen sect mainly focuses on concocting medicine. I have some achievements in concocting medicine. Today I will compete with you in medicinal properties. Interesting, sure. Lai Gu was very interested. Competing with landlord is more fun. Yu Yingguang said gravely. I will give you a poison, swallow it, but you only have 1 hour to concoct the antidote. Otherwise, your entire body will fester, and you will die. Lai Gu understood. In that case, I can give you a poison too? Precisely. Yu Yingguang said indifferently. He was very confident. A yellow-haired brat actually dares to gamble with me. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. This was also why Yu Yingguang would choose Lai Gu. Children seemed to be easy to deceive. Yu Yingguang could be seen taking out an exquisite small box from his sleeve, then said with a proud look on his face, This pill is called 6-in soul dispersing pill. It is colorless and odorless. The person who consumes it will be safe and sound for 1 hour, but after 1 hour, the person will bleed from his 7 apertures, fester will appear all over his body, and soon after, his soul will scatter. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. What cultivators pay particular attention to is the soul. If the soul is gone, it means that the person will be gone in their next life. This pill is too vicious. This pill has been concocted by me for 49 days, and the medicinal ingredients required for it have even been a year. To be honest, even I don't know how to concoct the antidote. Yu Yinguang added. The other 4 elders frowned. What is this Yu Yinguang trying to say? Could it be that he doesn't want to kill the other party? Of course Yu Yinguang wanted to, but as a pharmacist, he wanted to see other people tremble in front of the pill that he concocted even more. That kind of satisfaction was even more satisfying than killing someone. Lai Gu smiled, then stretched his hand into his clothes, seemingly to be poking something. Everyone was a little stupefied. After poking for around a minute, Lai Gu took out a black pill, then coughed lightly and said, "This pill is concocted by me. Although the time taken is not long, the effect is not bad. I even gave it a name. I want it every day. As for the medicinal ingredients, it is very hard to find. After consuming it for 1 minute, it will take effect. After consuming it for 1 hour, if the medicinal effect is not neutralized, the person's body will explode and he will die." Yu Yinguang smiled in disdain. "I am just exaggerating. There is no medicine in the world that I cannot neutralize." However, looking at the black pill in Lai Gu's hand, why do I feel that it is so disgusting? How can I not be disgusted? Lai Gu had poked his armpit for 1 minute just now, and after much difficulty, he finally managed to poke such a big one. This king's black pill is very effective after consuming it. If you don't believe me, you can give it a try. I guarantee that it will take effect in 1 minute. Both parties could be seen exchanging pills. Lai Gu opened the small box, and the pill inside was golden in color. It looked very appetizing. Without even thinking, Lai Gu stuffed it into his mouth, and even chewed for a while. "Hee, is there a minty taste? I just added a little bit of it." Yu Yinguang smiled faintly, then ate Lai Gu's pill in 1 gulp and tasted it attentively. However, after chewing it, why is there a stinky smell? What kind of medicinal ingredient would have such a smell? Lai Gu smiled and said, "Do you feel that there is a strange smell? That is because I added my own body odor." Everyone, Yu Yinguang stretched out his long and thin finger, and felt a little nauseous. Lai Gu opened a bottle of beer, and waited nonchalantly. "Are you not planning to save yourself?" Yu Yinguang drank a mouthful of water, and said coldly, "No hurry, I want to see how you are going to save yourself." Chapter 120. Yu Yinguang could be seen eating a pill, then sat cross-legged on the ground and circulated his energy to quickly digest the pill. After a while, Yu Yinguang stood up and said with a smile, "It's done." "Is it really done?" Lai Gu drank a mouthful of wine and looked at Yu Yinguang's crotch. Everyone couldn't help but look over, and were immediately startled. "I didn't expect this old man to be so muscular." Yu Yinguang turned pale with fright. "I actually didn't feel it." Suddenly, the heat that disappeared just now came back again. Yu Yinguang's entire body turned red, and he didn't dare to be careless. He continuously ate a few pills and sat in meditation to digest the energy. However, not only was it useless, his entire body seemed like it was going to explode, and it seemed like it was going to swell up. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? What exactly is this medicine? Yu Yinguang felt like he was going to explode as he asked angrily. Lai Gu said leisurely, "Didn't you say it yourself just now? It's an aphrodisiac." The 4 elders were startled. They didn't expect the medicine's effects to be so outstanding. To actually make an old man who was over 90 years old look like a young man. This is too mystical. You are shameless. Don't be shameless, the antidote is over there. Lai Gu pointed to the few women who were huddled at the corner of the wall. They were all scared to death just now. Yu Yinguang was a decent person. Why would he do such a thing? Losing his integrity in old age is not a good thing. Where is the toilet? Yu Yingguang couldn't bear it anymore and asked gravely. Wei Chong pointed to the passage at the side. Turn left inside. Yu Yingguang flashed, and he was already at the toilet. Everyone could even hear the sound of the door closing. The other elders frowned and turned their heads. Vulgar. Vulgar. But is the medicine's effects really that good? Returning to the time when I was young. Not long later, Yu Yingguang walked out of the toilet with a comfortable expression. His withered face still had a bit of redness, as if he had been cured of a chronic illness. The other elders revealed a bit of envy. At this age, they no longer had any interest. However, when they saw Yu Yingguang's expression, they couldn't help but recall the time when they were young. But the vigor back then was gone forever. Yo, old man is pretty fast, huh? Yu Yingguang furrowed his brows. What do you mean by very fast? It had clearly been 3 minutes, but it sounded like it was settled in an instant. You want to embarrass this old man with a mere aphrodisiac? You overestimate yourself. Yu Yingguang stretched out his right hand and stroked his beard. The disciples couldn't help but feel disgusted. Lai Gu laughed lightly and said, Old man, you are also looking down on me too much. Every day, I want pellets. Just when Lai Gu finished speaking, Yu Yingguang felt a sensation coming from a certain place again, and his expression turned into shock. You, how did you refine this medicine? What? If you want to sell it, I won't tell you. Yu Yingguang gasped for air. The effects of the drug were taking effect too quickly. He still had to go in and settle this. 3 minutes later, Yu Yingguang walked out slowly. His expression wasn't very comfortable, but he didn't stop for long before running back in. 2 minutes later, Yu Yingguang walked out slowly. His right hand was trembling, and his breathing was rapid. Before he reached the door, he ran back in. A minute and a half later, Yu Yingguang held onto the wall and slowly walked out. His face was still flushed and his legs were trembling. However, he ran back in. 1 minute later, Yu Yingguang more or less crawled out. This is simply torture. If this goes on, I will explode and die. Antidote. I want the antidote. Yu Yingguang stretched out his skinny right hand, and there was actually a sparkling and translucent thing on his right hand. Everyone couldn't help but feel nauseous. The remaining 20 disciples knew that it would be like this. Elder, why are you so honest? These two are big liars. Yu Yingguang felt as if his chest was burning. Because the fire in his chest did not pour out, his body gradually swelled up again. Not long later, Yu Yingguang, who was skinny just a moment ago, became like a 100 kilograms fatty. This kind of change made everyone shocked. What new style of landlord, what happy airplane chess, this is what is called real torture. Living is worse than death. Lai Gu sighed. Old man, I have already said, isn't the antidote right there? You just had to use your hands, why bother? Everyone looked towards the few crazy women who were hiding at the corner of the wall, then looked towards Yu Yingguang, who was continuously swollen. Just what is this place? Why is it so gloomy and scary? These two demons. Yu Yingguang naturally knew, but as long as I do this kind of lowly thing, I won't be able to keep my chastity. If this matter were to spread out, how would I have any face left? Also, just what kind of bullshit aphrodisiac is this? To actually be able to maintain a calm mind, and allow me to think like a normal person. If it was that kind of aphrodisiac that disregards everything, I wouldn't be thinking so much. But if I lose my life, what's the use of my face? Yu Yingguang turned his head around and looked towards the woman who was hiding at the corner of the wall and shivering, then rushed over regardless of everything. Because of the lighting, the corner of the wall was rather dim, making it hard to see what was going on, but everyone was able to hear the beautiful melody very clearly. This old man is rather dissolute. Lai Gu laughed. The expressions of the elders became solemn. That Yu Yingguang is too shameless to actually openly do something improper. Do you not even want that old face of yours anymore? After quite a while, Cloud Sect's elder Xing Tian felt that it was about time. No matter how strong the medicinal effect was, it should have been neutralized by now. Yu Yingguang, who was currently neutralizing the poison, immediately fainted onto the ground. Lai Gu was very unhappy and asked gravely, "What are you doing? The old man is neutralizing the poison." "It's about time." Xing Tian said coldly. That kind of lingering voice made one feel nauseous just by listening to it. Alright, in actuality, it's just jealousy. What do you mean by about time? You just don't understand me. I ask for pills every single day. Originally, the old man was neutralizing the poison. And yet you interrupted him. Lai Gu sighed, seemingly feeling that it was a pity. Wei Chang said calmly. You murderer. Xing Tian opened his eyes wide. I have never seen such a shameless person before. To actually say that I am a murderer. Lai Gu said. Everyone saw it just now. I kindly pointed out the right path for Skinny Bone. Yet he interrupted me to save him. If he isn't a murderer, then what is he? A bunch of nonsense. Xing Tian shouted out angrily. Traceless Pavilion's Elder Tu Rong said. Elder Xing, you are indeed in the wrong for this matter. Elder Xing, although Elder Yu's behavior was improper, he did it for the sake of his life. Why did you interrupt him? South Alliance's Gao Shuang said. That's right, since Elder Yu did it, I'm sure that he should be clear of the consequences. Elder Xing, aren't you cutting off his life? Violent Thunder Sect's Elder Wenrui said lightly. Xing Tian's eyes widened. I didn't expect that at this crucial moment, they would actually hit me when I am down. Thinking about it, it makes sense. This time, my sect discovered a treasure, yet I secretly excavated it. It would be weird if they didn't hate me, and what I did just now just happened to give them something to use against me. Wei Chang and Lai Gu weren't very clear about the pros and cons of what his honor did, and they only felt that the internal strife between them was very interesting. Chapter 121. Along with what Lai Gu said, Xing Tian's expression became extremely ugly. He actually asked me to go and help him. Why should I help him? Help him send the gay flying. Elder Xing, if you don't help him, your crime of murder will be confirmed. You'll have to go to jail. Every single word of Lai Gu's teasing caused Xing Tian to burn with rage, and he wished that he could eat this high school student in front of him alive. Just as everyone was talking, the unconscious Yu Yingguang swelled up once more. The speed was so fast that it left everyone speechless. Every now and then, he was like a rubber ball. It's too late. Lai Gu sighed. Bang. An explosion suddenly rang out. Those crazy women did not know what had happened. They were still laughing foolishly, but their bodies were covered in blood. Tisk tsk tsk, you are just watching someone die and not helping them. That little brothers from Dry Zen sect can leave now. Lai Gu waved his hand, and in the end, not a single person left. We can leave now, sit down and wait for supper. Lai Gu urged. One of them whispered. There are a total of 4 people from the Dry Zen sect, 3 men and 1 woman. Lai Gu went into a daze. This is too miserable. Say, why do you all have to go through the trouble of doing this? This is his honor's territory. And you all even dare to come over to probe. All right. Take that woman away. A few men walked into the corner of the wall and pulled out one of the crazy women. Then, they let her out. Exaggerated laughter immediately rang out from outside. Not long after, an ear-piercing screech of brakes could be heard. Lai Gu let out a long sigh. A young lady in the prime of her youth is gone just like that. It's all your boss's fault for recklessly giving out orders. And even to the point of not saving her, sigh? In actuality, the 2 of them didn't intend to kill anyone. What they needed was to shock and awe. Just now, Lai Gu had already revealed the answer. However, Skinny Gu was killed by someone else. He was really innocent. I'll do it. Xing Tian shouted in a deep voice. Lai Gu's interest was piqued again as he said, me or him? You. Xing Tian pointed at Lai Gu and shouted. Hee. At least you have good eyesight. What are we competing in? Lai Gu raised his eyebrows towards Wei Chang. You can just go and play at one side, all of them like handsome guys. Let's compete in swords. Compete in being despicable. Lai Gu immediately became stupefied. Even being despicable can be competed? It's a sword duel. It wasn't a competition of despicableness. Such a sword. Xing Tian took out his sword and accidentally blurted it out. His face turned slightly red. Lai Gu suddenly came to a realization. Oh, it's a sword competition. I thought that you were very cheap. You little fool, I'll let you see this elder's prowess in a while. Xing Tian snorted coldly. Lai Gu pouted his mouth, then turned his head around and asked, "Gluttonous monster, where is my 11 meters long broadsword? No, where is my broadsword?" Wei Chong smiled. "I'll help you get it." Wei Chong walked into the storage room at the back, and not long after, the sound of metal rubbing against the ground could be heard. When Wei Chong appeared dragging the 11-meter pig slaughtering knife, everyone was dumbfounded. Compared to the sword in Xing Tian's hand, this was a huge object, and that knife was as small as a needle. Lai Gu took over the huge pig slaughtering knife, and a hint of cold light could be seen on the blade of the knife. "How do you want to compete?" Xing Tian's brows were solemn. He suddenly remembered that today's mission wasn't to fight with them, but to bring them away. He couldn't complicate the issue. He could just let it go, but he couldn't be like the elder of the Dry Zen sect. "Let's fight each other once," Xing Tian said in a deep voice. A hint of blood could be seen on Lai Gu's gaze. "All right. You chop me first, then I'll chop you." Everyone took in a breath of cold air. "That embroidery needle of yours won't be able to stab someone to death. Look at the other party's 11 meters long broadsword. If it were to stab down, the depth of the broadsword would be unfathomable." No, it's a fight between weapons," Xing Tian hurriedly explained. The excitement that Lai Gu felt just a moment ago immediately disappeared. "Boring." Xing Tian laughed dryly. "Why do I feel so embarrassed?" Xing Tian could be seen shouting out lightly, and the sword in his hand rang out. Everyone couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Cloud Sect's swordsmanship is indeed formidable. Lai Gu let out a yawn and raised the pig slaughtering knife in his hand. There was no sword cry. Only cold light could be seen. "Be gentler, don't disturb his honor," Wei Chong reminded in a low voice. Lai Gu wrinkled his brows. He was controlling his strength, but in the eyes of others, they would think that Lai Gu was afraid. Bang! The two weapons came into contact with each other, and the floor beneath their feet instantly cracked. Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. "I controlled my strength just right," and Wei Chong was also afraid that Lai Gu would disturb his honor. Xing Tian gasped for breath. "I didn't expect that the other party would actually be so strong. All right, let's go. Let's go, boring." Lai Gu waved his hand. "I still feel that Skinny Gu is interesting. It's a pity that he died." Xing Tian led the 5 sect disciples and walked out of the bar. Pooh. Finally, he couldn't bear it anymore, and his blood flowed out violently. That slash from the other party just now caused my vitality to be greatly injured. This is too terrifying. Elder, quickly return to the sect. Right now, Xing Tian had to immediately return to the sect and seek help from the sect leader. If not, he would definitely vomit blood and die. Within Leisure Bar, there were still 3 elders left, and all of them were calculating. The other party's strength is very strong, and Xing Tian's acting just now is indeed not bad, but that expression on his face was unable to be concealed. He definitely suffered from internal injuries. "What should we do?" "I'll do it." Traceless Pavilion's elder Tu Rong walked out with a look that seemed as if he was facing death calmly. "You want me to choose him?" Lai Gu asked excitedly. "Him." Tu Rong pointed at Wei Chong and said. Lai Gu let out a sigh. "You actually chose a pervert, congratulations." The corner of Tu Rong's mouth twitched. This security guard's smile is so warm, he should be a bit better than this high school student, right? Suddenly, a sound rang out from the staircase, and Wei Chong and Lai Gu's expression sunk. Did we disturb his honor? Everyone noticed that Wei Chong and Lai Gu's expression actually revealed nervousness. Everyone looked towards the staircase, and the first thing that was revealed was a pair of calves. What a well-proportioned calves, followed by a pair of long legs. My God! Isn't this one of the twins that walked up just now? The hell? Are you two holding a bloody party? This is a bit interesting. Qing Yutong still hasn't removed her makeup yet. Didn't she just die? Thus, I might as well take a bag of spicy gluten and go up. Lai Gu didn't even know how to address his honor's sister-in-law. Thus, I might as well just call her ordinary. Subordinate saw that Leisure Bar was too cold and cheerless, so I invited some extras over to act as a prop. Lai Gu said while stammering. Everyone turned pale with fright. Subordinate. These two perverts are that woman's subordinates. I didn't expect this. Their boss is actually a woman. If that's the case, doesn't that woman's strength is even more terrifying? Qing Yutong sized up Lai Gu, then took a look at Wei Chong, then took a look at the aeroplane chess on the ground, as well as that severed arm. Picking up the spicy bar, Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. It's almost 12 o'clock, it should be more or less done. Subordinate understands. Lai Gu smiled. After Qing Yutong walked up to the staircase, Wei Chong and Lai Gu heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, it isn't his honor. Speak, what are we competing in? Wei Chong urged. Everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. That woman actually didn't even frown in the slightest. It could be seen that she is a cold-blooded person. Chapter 122. Within the bottle, there was a red little bug that looked like a little ladybug. It would occasionally fly around a few times, and it looked rather cute. Lai Gu opened another bottle of beer and felt sorrowful for this old fellow. Gluttonous monsters don't lack bugs at all. His original body was a monster, and the parasites on his body made people feel numb. Luckily, he had turned into a human now. Wei Chong smiled, then stretched his hand into his crotch and immediately took something out. A huge black bug could be seen appearing on Wei Chang's palm. It had countless tentacles. If one did not look carefully, one would think that it was hair. And those legs of the bug were just like those of a centipede, causing people's entire body to feel numb. Lai Gu turned his face away. That bug is too disgusting. Everyone let out faint vomiting sounds. Such a huge bug. How did you take it out from your crotch? Or could it be that you have been raising such a huge bug in your crotch? Wei Chong stretched out his hand and played with the black bug on his palm, and those countless tentacles actually wrapped around Wei Chang's fingers. This is a digestive bug. After eating it, it will absorb your nutrients and grow stronger, and in the end become the main body and replace you. Wei Chong explained with a smile, but everyone was sweating profusely, especially Tu Rong. How am I supposed to swallow such a huge black bug? Just looking at it makes me feel disgusted. In comparison, my fierce goo is much cuter. Upon thinking of Yu Yingguang's ending, Tu Rong sweated profusely. I have to think of a way. That's right. A faint smile appeared on Tu Rong's face as he kept his fierce goo and said, You misunderstood just now. I was just showing you my Traceless Pavilion's goo. I didn't mean anything else. Traceless Pavilion's disciple praised the elder for being smart. If you eat such a huge bug, you might even have the heart to die. The other two elders revealed a look of disdain. Wei Chong expressed that he didn't mind and stuffed the black bug into his crotch. Seeing this action, everyone took in a breath of cold air. Then, what do you want to play? Recently, I have done some research on rock, paper, scissors. How about we play around? Lai Gu was stupefied. Wei Chong was stupefied. Everyone was stupefied. 1 minute later, Tu Rong happily left with his disciple. Those few idiots are so stupid. Look at me. I won against them so easily and left without any injuries. One must use their brains, Yu Yingguang's soul cursed. You are fucking shameless. Elder Wen Rue of the Mighty Thunder Sect took a step forward with an extraordinary aura. He shouted in a deep voice, Allow me. Compete in what? Wei Chong was a little unhappy. Rock, paper, scissors actually lost. Cunning humans. Wen Rue said in a deep voice, This elder can drink a bottle of beer in one go. Lai Gu, who was currently drinking wine, immediately spurted out his wine. Wei Chang's expression became even worse. The disciples of the Mighty Thunder Sect looked at the elder in admiration. Elder Wen was too quick-witted, a role model for them. Without any mishaps, Wen Rue drank a bottle of free beer in one go and retreated with his disciples. When he walked out, he even sighed. The first two were simply idiots. You need to know how to outsmart them. Only the Southern Alliance's elder Gao Shuang was left in the leisure bar. The disciples of the Southern Alliance looked at their elder and thought in their hearts, One is rock, paper, scissors, the other is drinking wine. Why don't the elder follow suit? Gao Shuang coldly snorted. There was no need for her to imitate him. What do you want to play? Wei Chong was very unhappy. This cunning human, Gao Shuang said in disdain. The requests of the first two are too unpresentable. This elder doesn't want to be associated with them. The disciples of the Southern Alliance worshipped the elder even more. Elder Gao is too brave, not panicking in the face of danger. He can be said to be a role model. This elder has recently gained quite a bit of experience in playing landlord. Why don't the two of you play? Gao Shuang said with a mysterious confidence. Wei Chong and Lai Gu were startled at first, but soon after, they revealed a gentle smile. Wei Chong even personally moved the chairs, and Lai Gu even opened a bottle of red wine to entertain them. Gao Shuang didn't expect that there would be such treatment. This leisure bar isn't that scary after all. The disciples of the Southern Alliance cried. Elder Gao, why are you courting death? Just play a rock-paper-scissors game. We can't even play their landlord. Half an hour later, Wei Chong and Lai Gu held onto a mop and mopped the floor. Lai Gu sighed. An elder is indeed an elder, to be able to hold on for so long. Can you be called an elder if you don't have some strength? Wei Chong wiped the bloody table and said with a smile. This landlord is too interesting. I am going back to play with the women. I will leave this place to you. After finished speaking, Lai Gu ran away. Wei Chong laughed bitterly and continued to wipe the table. Uncle Wei. A gentle voice rang out, and Tang Wei could be seen slowly walking out from the room at the back. Wei Chong went into a daze for a moment, then looked at the woman in front of him and asked, Are you afraid of Uncle Wei? Tang Wei lightly hugged onto Wei Chang's waist, and leaned her head onto Wei Chang's chest. A hint of black light flashed past her beautiful eyes. I'm not afraid. Wei Chang laughed. Clean up well. Uncle Wei will send you home. Uncle Wei, did you forget that the light in my house is broken? Tang Wei said shyly. That's right. Uncle Wei will help you change it. Wei Chang smiled and patted onto Tang Wei's head. Go and dig out those 4 people from the wall and throw them out. Oh. Tang Wei was currently gloomy. The 4 handsome generals of Jiangnan are going to be bullied by Little Punch again. Yi Hua, who was upstairs, did not know what was happening downstairs, but Qing Yutong knew about it. Observing her brother-in-law, he is really becoming more and more mysterious. After eating chicken for the entire night, Yi Hua expressed that he was not happy, because it had nothing to do with him at all. This little guy said that he wouldn't steal the limelight, but in the end, he was a little swindler, stealing all of the limelight. Uncle, I'm sorry, Ali stole your limelight again. Yi Hua seemed to have already gotten used to it as he placed down his earphones. Go to sleep. I will play one more round. Qinya muttered, but to her surprise, Yi Hua directly carried Qinya up. Qing Yutong said disconsolately, Can you two not show off your affection in front of me? Yi Hua, what are you doing? Put me down. Qinya's little fists hammered onto Yi Hua powerlessly, and her face was slightly red. Is it possible for me to put her down? It's definitely impossible. Ali, you should sleep early too. Be careful that your mother will spank your butt. Qing Yutong said. Mother might still be discussing matters. Ali can still play one last round. All right, one last round. And one last round, Ali will go to sleep. Yi Hua expressed that this was the never-ending last round. Go and take a bath. After placing Qinya down, Yi Hua said faintly. Qinya snorted, then sat on the bedside. Not going. There is a smell of smoke. Isn't it because of the smoke that you smoked? Do you want me to help you take a bath? Yi Hua wrinkled his brows and said gravely. Qinya pouted her mouth, then glared at Yi Hua, then walked into the bathroom. After Qinya finished taking a bath, Yi Hua also took a bath, then lied on the bed. Chapter 123. Just like how she is right now, quietly leaning on my side, not making any noise, it feels really comfortable. That smooth and beautiful hair of hers is especially comfortable to touch. And those lips taste very sweet. I have to find an excuse to kiss them. If I were to take the initiative, I would seem to lose a lot of face, and this foolish woman would also not take the initiative. This is troublesome. What are you thinking about? Qinya leaned on Yi Hua's chest and asked tenderly. Yi Hua said faintly, Nothing. Accompany me to the hospital to do a checkup tomorrow. Qinya said calmly. Yihua wrinkled his brows. What checkup? Of course it's the child. How are you a father? Don't you understand? Qinya stretched out her small fist and punched onto Yihua's chest. Yihua was very clear about the child's condition. There is no need for him to go to the hospital to do a checkup. The child is fine. There is no need to go to the hospital. I know that you are a cultivator, but I am still worried. Qinya's tone became weak. After being in contact with Dong Huangli for the past 2 days, she looked forward to the birth of her child even more. She wanted to ensure that everything would go smoothly. What? You don't believe me? It's not that I don't believe you. I just want to be sure. Qinya rubbed onto her flat stomach, and a trace of a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. In a few more months, my stomach will be big, right? Yihua remained silent. After all, Qinya is only a human, and she naturally believes in modern medicine. Fine, I'll just do it. It's good for her to be at ease. Yihua, before my stomach gets big, let's go take a wedding photo. Qinya said tenderly. After all, every girl dreams of the day they wear a wedding dress, and Qinya was no exception. Yihua said faintly, what's there to take a photo of? Boring. Can you be a bit more serious? It's fine if we don't have a wedding, but we should at least have a set of wedding photos, right? Qinya became angry. Do you really not want to take a wedding photo with me that much? Yihua remained silent. However, in Qinya's eyes, this was a disguised form of rejection. Qinya could be seen sitting up and asking coldly, Yihua, let me ask you, are you still treating me as a tool to give birth to a child? Yes. Yihua replied coldly. However, this reply made Yihua a bit annoyed. Qinya's beautiful eyes immediately turned red. I didn't expect that he would still be the same as when we first met. I thought that after being in contact with him for this period of time he would change. I am truly foolish. After a long time, Qinya said faintly, after the child is born, let's divorce. After she finished speaking, she leaned to the side. The gentle moonlight shone on her beautiful face, which was covered with tear stains. When Yihua heard the word divorce, he became even angrier and said coldly, up to you. Hearing Yihua's cold and indifferent words, Qinya slightly curled up her body, and her shoulders lightly shook. Although she was crying, she did not let out a single sound, and she would not lower her head in front of this man. At this moment, Yihua's mood was exceptionally bad. At the same time he was thinking, did I spoil her too much, causing her to become more and more arrogant, to actually dare to propose a divorce now? I, the Supreme Overlord, have never treated a woman so well before, let alone a human woman. Thinking about the things that I have done for the past few days, Yihua felt that I have been too benevolent. Yihua stood up and walked out of the bedroom. When Qinya, who was at the side, heard the sound of Yihua leaving, at the moment when the door was closed, Qinya finally couldn't hold back the grievance in her heart and cried out. Picking up the pillow that was below her head and hugging it in her bosom, Qinya buried her beautiful face onto the pillow, and very quickly, her tears of grievance wetted the pillow. For the sake of the child, I have the heart to walk down the path together with you, but you don't have the heart, and you even treat yourself as a tool to give birth to the child. I, Qinya, have misjudged you. Coming to the office, Yihua took out a bottle of vodka, lit up a cigarette, then sat in front of the window and looked at the moonlight. Wei Chong. Lai Gu. Yihua called out gravely. Immediately, Wei Chong and Lai Gu appeared at the same time. Without thinking too much, the two of them immediately kneeled onto the ground and kowtowed. Because the tone that His Honor used to call out to them was not right, it was as if they had returned to the past, the time when His Honor was inhumane. Yihua squinted his eyes and looked at the full moon, then spat out a mouthful of smoke. Say, have I been too benevolent recently? Wei Chong and Lai Gu turned pale with fright. What is going on? Why did His Honor change so quickly? A few hours ago, His Honor said that he was going to bring everyone out for an outing, and right now he actually completely changed. Lai Gu nudged Wei Chong, who was at the side. Aren't you very talkative? Quickly say something. How would Wei Chong dare to speak carelessly right now? He was afraid that if he were to say something wrong, His Honor would go berserk. If that happened, would Xiao Tang still be able to live? Obviously not. Subordinate doesn't dare to try to figure out his honor's thoughts. Wei Chang said respectfully. I can only first figure out what exactly happened to his honor, then figure out how to deal with the problem. Seems like that Tang Wei has changed you a lot. Yi Hua said indifferently, just that the temperature of the air suddenly dropped. Wei Chang was greatly startled. Your honor, Xiao Tang is innocent. Yi Hua slowly stood up and walked in front of Wei Chang. Looking at Wei Chang, who had his head lowered, Yi Hua said, You are actually pleading for a human woman. The huge pressure caused Wei Chang to sweat profusely. Just what is going on with his honor? Your honor, Wei Chang didn't mean to contradict his honor. I hope that your honor can forgive him this time. Lai Gu hurriedly replied. Yi Hua took a deep breath. I have heard that human women have the ability to bewitch people since a long time ago. Seems like the rumors are true. Wei Chang and Lai Gu took a look at each other. The reason why his honor got so angry is because of the madam. However, the madam is only a human. How could she possibly make his honor get so angry? Lai Gu didn't have much contact with Wei Chang, thus he didn't understand Wei Chang very well. Meanwhile, Wei Chang felt that the madam was very gentle, and didn't seem like the kind of woman who would make others angry. Wei Chang paused for a moment, then said, Subordinate feels that for your honor to be benevolent, it means that you have a deeper understanding of human nature. After all, there are benevolent people among humans too. Yi Hua didn't say anything and lit up another stick of cigarette. Seeing that his honor didn't say anything, Wei Chang let out a sigh of relief. What your honor said just now. Human women have the ability to bewitch people. Subordinate feels that we can understand it from another angle. Speak. Yi Hua said indifferently. Wei Chang was just speaking thoughtlessly, who knew that his honor would ask about it in detail. What should I do? Yi Hua stealthily pulled onto Lai Gu, who was at the side. Lai Gu waved his hand. What do you mean by another angle? I just feel that any angle on the bed is fine. This Lai Gu, don't you have a lot of women? Will you die if I ask you to speak about your thoughts? Lai Gu expressed that if I were to speak about my thoughts, his honor would probably fly into a rage again. Right now, I can only brace myself and speak about it. If your honor views this bewitching technique as love, perhaps, you will be able to understand. Bullshit. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. Wei Chang's honor's attitude is just like those overbearing CEOs in television dramas. So it turns out that his honor also has the same troubles as me. Subordinate deserves to die. Subordinate deserves to die. Wei Chang and Lai Gu immediately begged for forgiveness. However, the two of them let out a sigh of relief, because the word bullshit that his honor said just now clearly contained a human's emotions. Chapter 124. Lai Gu immediately followed along. Subordinate thinks so as well. Yi Hua tightly wrinkled his brows and walked back and forth, feeling restless. What are you still lying on the floor for? Hurry up and scram back to your room. Wei Chang and Lai Gu were overjoyed. Seems like his honor has thought things through. Subordinate will scram right now. Subordinate will scram right now. Yi Hua opened his computer and searched for the definition of love on Baidu. After searching for an entire night, he came to a conclusion. Loving her means hurting her. I'm afraid that this is a pirated website. Dawn quietly rose. Yi Hua lied on the boss's chair and fell asleep. Meanwhile, Qinya, who was in the bedroom, did not sleep for the entire night. Feeling that the entire bed was ice cold, she got off the bed and washed up, then opened the office door and discovered that Yi Hua was actually sleeping on the chair. Qinya did not say anything, closed the door and walked out of the bar. Not knowing how long had passed, Yi Hua woke up. The first thing he did was to light up a cigarette, and a hint of irritation could be seen in between his brows. After smoking the cigarette, Yi Hua walked out of his office and arrived at the bedroom. There was not a single person in the room, and the bed was neat and tidy. Could it be that this woman ran away from home? Yi Hua opened the wardrobe and discovered that Qinya's clothes were all there. Even her shoes were all there. If this woman dares to leave, I will definitely tie her up. Arriving at sister-in-law's room, as expected, Qinya was hiding here. Just that, she did not play games and was instead sleeping on her little sister's bed. The corner of Chinya's eyes were still moist. On the table was a packed breakfast box, which was completely empty. There was no portion for me. Is she really planning on divorcing me? Do you think that I won't be able to continue living without you? What a joke. What bullshit, love. This is completely bullshit. And also, this sister-in-law is actually giving me an attitude. All of you are really something. Qin Yutong was naturally standing on her big sister's side. Early in the morning, her big sister ran over with breakfast in her hands. Just that, her expression was not right. Her pair of beautiful eyes were red and swollen. This was the first time Qin Yutong saw her big sister like this. No need to think too much. She must have definitely been bullied by brother-in-law. In the past, when the two of them quarreled, the quarrel would end within a minute, and from the looks of it, the situation today is not good. Big sister did not even say a single word and just lied down to sleep. And when I asked her what happened, she did not even say a single word. Although the system wants me to push the blame to brother-in-law, it is not forced. Big sister suffered such a big injustice. As a little sister, I definitely have to stand up. If you provoke me, be careful. I will elopse with big sister, my poor sister. You're still being bullied by your brother-in-law even though you're pregnant. Little sister will take revenge for you. The scene of brother-in-law abusing big sister appeared in Qin Yutong's mind. I can't tolerate it. Qin Yutong could be seen suddenly standing up, and with a cold look on her beautiful face she said, "You, come out." Qin Yutong's aura is not bad. It seems like she is going to risk her life. Yihua sneered. There has never been anyone who dared to speak to me like this, not even Qinya. The two of them walked out of the door and stared at each other. Qin Yutong was not weak at all, and her eyes were staring straight at Qin Yutong. Fuck brother-in-law, this pervert. Didn't even blink his eyes. My eyes are getting sore from staring at him. In an instant, Qin Yutong could be seen to have changed her strategy, and in an instant, she held onto Yihua's arm and said sweetly, "Brother-in-law, recently, I found a good movie, Black Cat Police Officer Wiley." Yihua sneered in his heart. I want to see what kind of tricks this sister-in-law is playing. Let's go take a look. Yihua said faintly. Yes. Qin Yutong pulled Yihua into the office, and an exquisite dagger immediately appeared in her hand. With lightning speed, Qin Yutong pressed Yihua onto the sofa, and she even rode on top of Yihua and placed the sharp dagger onto Yihua's neck. No one would have thought that such an unexpected scene would happen. If Wei Chong and Lai Gu were here, they would definitely be stupefied. In his honor's entire life, he had never been played with like this before, and you, a little girl, actually dared to do this. Yihua also didn't expect that his sister-in-law would actually make such a move, and he was indeed a bit stupefied. However, this courage of hers is not bad. I have to look at her in a whole new light. Speak. Why do you want to bully my big sister? Qin Yutong shouted coldly, and from the looks of it, it didn't seem like she was joking. System face, master's personality that doesn't care about his life is back again. A cold glint appeared in Yihua's abstruse gaze. Do you know the consequences of doing this? I am not afraid. The cold glint in Qin Yutong's beautiful eyes became even deeper. Ever since I was young, it was my big sister who tolerated me. Although we are not from the same mother, our big sister is still closer than a biological sister. When Qin Yutong saw how wronged and how sad her big sister was, Qin Yutong wished that she could find her brother-in-law and fight it out with him. However, when she thought about that pitiful little nephew of hers, she endured it. However, when she saw that her brother-in-law did not say anything when he came in, she became angry again. Right now, I have indeed pushed down brother-in-law, but the dagger in my hand is currently pressed onto brother-in-law's throat. Qin Yutong, are you not afraid of death? Yihua asked gravely. Qin Yutong used a bit of strength, and a trace of blood flowed out from her skin. For my big sister, I am not afraid. A trace of black fog appeared on Yihua's finger, and he asked gravely, how important is your big sister to you? She is my everything. Qin Yutong roared. Don't think that the reason why Qin Yutong didn't become the best actress was completely for fun. The reason why Qin Yutong shamelessly stayed here was so that she could push down brother-in-law. Qin Yutong only wanted to protect her big sister, that's all. When I was young, I was always taken care of by my big sister. And Qin Yutong decided that after I grow up, I will take care of my big sister. Even if Yi Hua did not appear, Qin Yutong would still shamelessly mix around with her big sister, then stay in her big sister's house, and kill anyone who has improper thoughts towards her big sister. Unexpectedly, she found out that her big sister actually had a man. After these few days, she felt that they were quite compatible. Brother-in-law was also very formidable, and he was enough to protect big sister. Sometimes, they would quarrel, but they would reconcile very quickly. However, today was different, and this made Qin Yutong very angry. Hearing Qin Yutong's roar, Yi Hua went into a daze, and the black fog on his finger gradually disappeared. Speak. Why did you bully my big sister? My big sister is so kind. She wouldn't even step on an ant. Speak. Qin Yutong's emotions were very out of control as she shook Yi Hua. Yi Hua took a deep breath. Your big sister wants to divorce me. Ah. You definitely bullied my big sister. That's why my big sister said such words. Because I don't accompany her to take wedding photos. Yi Hua said faintly. Qin Yutong was a bit stupefied. This is different from what I thought. Shouldn't it be big sister being tied up by brother-in-law? And then, big sister angrily brought up the divorce, and looking at the traces of blood on brother-in-law's neck. I'm finished, master. You better pray for your own good luck. I will be leaving first. Qin Yutong's gaze drifted about, embarrassedly kept the small dagger and said in a low voice, Brother-in-law, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. I forgot to turn off my computer. I will go and turn it off. Stop right there. Yi Hua sat up and shouted gravely, touching onto his neck and looking at the traces of blood on his hand. Yi Hua did not know what kind of mood he was in. A drop of blood from my fleshly body was actually ruined by my sister-in-law's hands. Qin Yutong swallowed her saliva. I'm finished. I'm finished. Brother-in-law is going to flip out. Chapter 125. Yi Hua said coldly, Come over. Brother-in-law, if you have something to say we can talk about it properly. We are also respectable people. It isn't good to use weapons. Where was Qin Yutong's imposing manner from just a moment ago? Yi Hua decided that today he must definitely teach this sister-in-law a lesson. To actually dare to point a knife at me. She must have eaten too much dragon meat. Get down. Yi Hua pointed at his leg and shouted. Qin Yutong was startled, and her small face collapsed as she pouted her small mouth. Brother-in-law, Yutong knows that I am wrong. I will report you. I have a lot of big sister's dark history. Can I use my good deeds to make up for my bad deeds? Get down. Qin Yutong dejectedly lied on Yi Hua's legs. Brother-in-law, be gentler. Raise your butt. Qin Yutong's perky buttocks stuck out. She was quite cooperative. Stab me with a knife. Do you still dare to do it? Yi Hua shouted out gravely. I must definitely teach this sister-in-law of mine a lesson. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Brother-in-law, be gentler. Brother-in-law, spare me. Yutong will not dare to do it again. Brother-in-law. Brother-in-law. Daddy. Daddy, spare me. Right now, Qin Yutong was already incoherent with her speech. It really hurts. Meanwhile, the more Yi Hua fought, the more excited he became. Suddenly, the sound of pa resounded in the office, and Qin Yutong's tender moan of pain could be heard mixed within. How was this a punishment? This was simply a reward in disguise. Congratulations, master. You have completed the first mission. Qin Yutong, who was currently being spanked, went into a daze. Master, your brother-in-law accidentally touched your thigh just now. Qin Yutong suddenly came to a realization. Brother-in-law has such a good scheme. Since he is able to take advantage of me, he is still able to do it so openly. Brilliant. It was too high. Yi Hua expressed that his hand slipped a bit just now. This Qin Yutong's skin is rather slippery. The feeling of hitting is not bad. It is very elastic. The one who is suffering is Qin Yutong. Isn't brother-in-law too heavy-handed with his attacks? It seems like he is even venting his anger on my sister-in-laws, but brother-in-law is so shameless. Who asked Qin Yutong to step into the muzzle of the gun? To begin with, Yi Hua's mood wasn't that good. I definitely won't be able to beat up my wife. Didn't this sister-in-law send over to be beaten up by me? How much longer are you going to lie there? Yi Hua had already stopped his hands for a very long time, while his sister-in-law was lying there motionlessly. Qin Yutong's beautiful face was completely red as she said in a small voice, I can't move anymore. If you dare do this again, even your sister won't be able to save you. Brother-in-law, Yutong knows her mistake. I promise that there won't be a next time. Qin Yutong struggled to stand up. Right now, not only was her butt hurting, she even felt that she had to go and change into a pair of pants. Yi Hua waved his hand, and Qin Yutong limped out of the office. In her heart, Yi Hua scolded her brother-in-law for being shameless. Who would hit their sister-in-law like this? Didn't I already apologize to her? It hurts so much. Ouch, my little butt is already swollen. After sitting for a while, Yi Hua walked out of leisure bar. His stomach was a bit hungry, luckily that Chinese crepe stall did not close. Add eggs and ham sausage. Yi Hua walked to the side of the stall and said. The auntie took a look at Yi Hua, then began to make breakfast while saying unhurriedly, Young man, you have also been eating breakfast at auntie's place for a few years. Auntie doesn't feel that you are a bad person. Yi Hua was stupefied. If I, the supreme overlord, am not a bad person, then who is a bad person? Did everyone think that they were living too well during this period of time? However, it is not right for you to hit your wife. The auntie added another sentence. Yi Hua almost vomited blood. Which eye of yours saw me hitting my wife? If I were to be vented out by gossips, where would I, the supreme overlord, have any face left? Just as Yi Hua wanted to refute, the auntie did not even give him the chance to do so. You have also been a bachelor for a few years, and it wasn't easy for you to find a good one, so cherish it. Wives are meant to be loved, not used to vent out one's anger. Auntie is someone who has been through it, and was once beautiful too. Someone who has been through it, and was once beautiful too. Can the auntie be less narcissistic and more sincere? Also, I, the supreme overlord, am still worried about women? With just a wave of my hand, who knows how many women would kneel down and lick my feet? You are saying it as if I, the supreme overlord, do not want anyone. Here, all right, your wife counted the money for 2 Chinese crepes this morning, but she only took 1. She must have known that you were coming. The auntie said with a slight smile. Yi Hua took over the piping hot Chinese crepes and was a bit absent-minded. Qin, you really bought it for me? Young man, your wife treats you very well, treat her well. After finished speaking, the auntie began serving other customers. I lost another customer today. If not for you being handsome, I wouldn't have bothered to help you. Holding on to the piping hot Chinese crepes, Yi Hua returned to his bar and sat foolishly at the bar counter. Am I being too harsh towards Qinya? Forget it, forget it. A great person will not remember the wrongs of a small person. I will forgive her after she apologizes to me later. After a while, as expected, familiar footsteps came from behind. Without thinking too much, Yi Hua knew that Qinya had come down, and Yi Hua even took a peek at her. Yi Hua thought to himself, at least you are tactful, knowing that you are here to apologize. I will be merciful and forgive you this once, and let bygones be bygones. Along with the footsteps getting closer and closer, Yi Hua had already put on an appearance of accepting the apology. A burst of fragrance drifted past, and the corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly twitched. This woman actually walked over just like that, and she doesn't even have the thought of apologizing at all. Could it be that you want me, the supreme overlord, to apologize to you? Dream on. Yi Hua picked up the glass cup and accurately smashed it not far away from Qinya. The clear and melodious shattering sound couldn't help but cause one's heart to sink. Qinya stopped her footsteps, didn't scold, didn't shout, didn't do anything at all. This kind of Qinya caused Yi Hua to be even more unhappy, and he asked gravely, "Where are you going?" Qinya remained silent. "I am asking you a question. Where are you going?" Yi Hua shouted out. "Why do I need you to care where I am going? Who are you to me?" Qinya asked coldly. Her tone didn't have a single bit of fluctuation, as if she was talking to a stranger. This caused Yi Hua to be angered to the point that his veins were popping out. I can't hit her, and even after I taught her a lesson, she doesn't have any reaction. Come back. Qingye walked forward without any hesitation. This had really angered Yihua. With a wave of his hand, Qingye was unable to move. Being tied up by Yihua using magic, Qingye didn't make a sound, as if she already knew that this would be the end. The two of them wasted time just like this, and after around half an hour, Yihua was the first who couldn't hold it in anymore. Walking in front of Qingye, looking at that stubborn and beautiful face, Yihua asked gravely, "Just what are you trying to do? Do you still care about the thoughts of a tool?" Qingye asked back. In actuality, this situation right now was very easy to solve. As long as Yihua was willing to lower his head and admit his mistake, everything would be fine. Perhaps their relationship might even warm up a little. However, who was Yihua? He was a supreme overlord. To make a supreme overlord apologize to a human woman, that was something that was basically impossible. Pausing for a moment, Yihua's tone became a lot steadier and said, "That's more or less enough. If not, I will really get angry. If you have the ability, tie me up for an entire lifetime." "All right." Yihua went into a daze for a moment, then shouted out heavily. Light blue radiance emitted out from his palm, and instantly enveloped the entire leisure bar. Not only did this conflict not resolve, it became even more intense. Yihua loosened the restraint on Qingye, then turned around and walked over. The strength in Qingye's entire body seemed to have been sucked dry as she slowly walked to the entrance of leisure bar. Stretching out her hand and touching the entrance, light blue ripples immediately appeared. Chapter 126. This bastard isn't human. Today I'll smash you, this broken Qing. Qingye could be seen angrily running into the bar counter. Then picking up a wine bottle, she started smashing it. Immediately, crackling sounds rang out within the lounge of the bar, and a dense smell of wine drifted in the air. Upstairs, Qing Yutong was currently applying ointment on her little butt, and when she heard the sounds coming from downstairs, she thought that her brother-in-law and big sister had started fighting, and without caring about her little butt, she tiptoed downstairs. "I didn't expect that it was big sister who was smashing the shop. Awesome. Big sister, what are you doing? Calm down." Qing Yutong hurriedly went up and dissuaded. From the looks of it, these two people will not be able to reconcile in a short period of time. Qingye shook off her little sister's hand and said angrily, "Don't stop me. Today I'm going to burn this broken Qing into ashes." "Big sister, don't get agitated. You are pregnant right now, you cannot get agitated." Qing Yutong wrinkled her eyebrows and persuaded. "Even if you do not care about me, you have to care about the child." Qingye once again swung Qing Yutong's buttocks with all her might, and unexpectedly, Qing Yutong's buttocks bumped onto the wine table. Immediately, Qing Yutong's eyes rolled back. That painful feeling, that sour feeling, so painful. The furious Qingye did not notice her sister's strange behavior, and angrily shouted, "Child! He only treated me as a tool to give birth to a child. Yutong, do you know how painful big sister's heart is?" Qingye couldn't hold herself back anymore, and threw herself into her little sister's embrace and cried bitterly, seemingly wanting to cry out all of her grievances. Qing Yutong lightly comforted her big sister, feeling that there should be some kind of misunderstanding between the two of them, right? Looking at brother-in-law's expression today, he seemed to be rather hurt as well. The two of them are simply hurting each other, and there is even a need for sister-in-law to mediate between them. My butt hurts so much. Big sister, I won't hide it from you. Just a while ago, I had already taught brother-in-law a lesson, and even made a cut on his neck, and helped you take revenge. Qing Yutong said as if she had won completely, and right now, her little buttocks were all swollen up high. Qingye went into a daze for a moment, then said while choking with sobs, "You are too reckless. What if someone dies?" TSK, just a moment ago, didn't you wish for brother-in-law to die? Why did you become worried in the blink of an eye? Qing Yutong had a face filled with disdain. Qing Yutong is truly a woman who doesn't have firm beliefs. "I am afraid of you," Qingye said petulantly as she wiped away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Qing Yutong took out a tissue and passed it to her big sister, then said tenderly, Under my threat, brother-in-law said some things. What words? Qingye turned her head around and said coldly. She looked as if she didn't mind, but in actuality, she cared a lot about it in her heart. Does Qin Yutong still not know? The two of them wanted to save face and refused to lower their heads. Brother-in-law said. Say what? Speak, Qin Yutong. Are you going to tell me or not? Don't be anxious. Wait for me to control my emotions and learn from brother-in-law's state. Qin Yutong could be seen imitating Yi Hua, and her face sunk as she said faintly, the matter that happened last night was my fault, but when I heard her talking about divorce, I became extremely angry. After all, I love her. After finished speaking, Qin Yutong took a glance at Qin Yutong and discovered that even her big sister was stupefied. Did he really say that? Qingye asked after a long while. Isn't that so? Didn't you see brother-in-law's regretful expression? He just didn't want to show it in front of you. In any case, I won't be able to forgive him so easily this time. Qingye pouted her mouth. It seemed that her anger had already dissipated by more than half. That's right, we won't be able to forgive brother-in-law so easily this time. Qingye silently nodded her head. Then big sister, you stay here and think about it first. I will be going upstairs. Qin Yutong immediately went upstairs and arrived at Yi Hua's office. Upon arriving, she saw that her brother-in-law was currently smoking a cigarette. Brother-in-law, good news. Qin Yutong limped into the office and had a smile on her face. Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette and did not even turn his head back. I heard the sound from downstairs just now. This woman is simply out of control. Speak. Yi Hua said coldly. Qin Yutong shook her head helplessly. I really don't know how the two of us are going to get along with each other. Other people say that ice and fire are incompatible, and the two of us are just like two lumps of ice. Qin Yutong coughed lightly. My big sister told me the truth just now. The corner of Yi Hua's eyebrows slightly raised as he slowly turned around. What? Wait for me to control my emotions. Qin Yutong paused for a moment. Then her beautiful eyes immediately turned red. Big droplets of tears flowed down as she pounced into Yi Hua's embrace. Soon after, Qin Yutong cried out loudly. Yutong, do you know how much Big Sister loves your brother-in-law? Big Sister didn't go to work for him and played games with him, but he doesn't like Big Sister at all, and even said that Big Sister is a tool to give birth to children. After Qin Yutong finished speaking, she stopped crying and said with a smile, Big Sister was like that back then. Did she really say that? Yi Hua asked gravely. Isn't that so? Big Sister loves you so much that she almost wanted to commit suicide just now. Luckily I am here. Qin Yutong patted on her chest, with a look of I did a meritorious deed. Do you want to reward me with something? Yi Hua snorted, and his mood immediately became better. However, he said, at least she has a bit of foresight. That's right, that's right. Big Sister must have accumulated a lot of good karma for being able to marry brother-in-law. Qin Yutong said with a smile. A white medicine bottle could be seen appearing in Yi Hua's hand. Apply this medicine on your butt, it will be fine in a while. Thank you, brother-in-law. Qin Yutong felt that there was hope. With brother-in-law, this great god, what is the point of needing the system? The system had already fainted from crying in the toilet. Yi Hua paused for a moment, then said faintly, ask your big sister to come up and apologize. Qin Yutong didn't expect that her brother-in-law would still be like this, and she was instantly stupefied. What are you still standing there for? Qin Yutong's brain was spinning rapidly. If I were to collapse, our relationship would definitely worsen once again. I have to think of a way. Brother-in-law, this move is the worst possible move. Qin Yutong's expression changed and said solemnly. Seeing that his sister-in-law was so serious, Yi Hua couldn't help but become serious as well. Why? Apologizing is just a formality, but this will not be able to change Big Sister's attitude. Continue speaking. Qin Yutong let out a sigh of relief. Brother-in-law is so easy to deceive. He is an honest person. Everyone quickly come and bully him. My big sister is a woman who would go up the roof and tear down the tiles if she doesn't get a good beating. After hearing that, Yi Hua silently nodded his head. Therefore, brother-in-law, you cannot forgive big sister so quickly, and you also cannot spoil her too much. However, don't fuss about last night's matter anymore. Do you understand what I mean? What you mean is let me coldly treat your big sister, and grind down her spirit. Yi Hua said gravely. I feel that it is somewhat reasonable. That's more or less what I mean. In any case, you also know how big sister feels about you. You have a point. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly rose. I didn't expect that this woman would actually fall in love with me. At least you are sensible. Qin Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes. My big sister is currently downstairs. Yi Hua tidied up his clothes, adjusted his hairstyle, then opened the door and went downstairs. Seeing that you love me so much, I will not lower myself to your level. Chapter 127. Qinya sat on the bench and drank plain water. In actuality, she was thinking about a lot of things. The first time I met Yi Hua, I was also sitting here. However, from that time onwards, the trajectory of my life had changed. Although he was very cold and rarely smiled, but these few days he treated me very well. What my little sister said isn't without reason. Yi Hua is the kind of person who wants face no matter what, and even more so, he wouldn't lower his head. Perhaps, it was because I angered him last night that he became angry. But even if he was angry, he couldn't treat him like that. He didn't even explain himself. Suddenly, the sound of steady footsteps could be heard coming from the staircase. Qinya quickly got into a good posture. I can't let Yi Hua look down on me. This time, I definitely won't let him off easily. If not, I will still be bullied in the future. Yi Hua slowly walked over, and when he saw Qinya, who had a haughty look on her face, he laughed in his heart. You probably don't know this, right? Your little sister has already sold you out. And yet, you are still putting on an act here. It isn't your fault that you fell in love with me. After all, I, the Supreme Overlord, am too outstanding, and there isn't a second person like me in this world. Seeing that Yi Hua was standing there and not speaking, Qinya pursed her lips. Let's see how long you can be stubborn for. If you love me, then just say it out. What is there to be embarrassed about? It's no wonder I have become more beautiful recently. Yi Hua is embarrassed, a man who cares about his face no matter what. Let's see who can last longer. Yo, this woman is really enduring. She loves me so much that she is hovering between life and death. Just a moment ago, she even tried to commit suicide. Now that she saw me coming down, I reckon that her heart must be blooming with joy. Let's see how long you can hold it in for. Just like that, the two of them wasted 10 minutes, and finally, Qinya was unable to hold back anymore. I'm going to the hospital. A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. Aren't you very stubborn? In the end, they still succumbed to my charm. With a light touch of his hand, the light blue barrier disappeared like a bubble. Qinya pouted her mouth. Wasn't I very arrogant? If you have the guts, don't leave. Continue to lock yourself up. Why don't you say that you love me? Will it kill you to say that I love you? Picking up her bag, Qinya walked out of Leisure Bar, and Yi Hua followed after her. Before walking out, he even shouted towards the upstairs. Yutong, come down and do some cleaning. Qin Yutong, who was upstairs, almost wanted to cry. Not only do I have to be the peacemaker, I even have to be the waitress. When brother-in-law is in a bad mood, I even have to offer up my butt. It was still the same Audi A8, Qinya was the driver, and Yi Hua was the master. After setting the route, Qinya started the car and drove towards a people's hospital. In the car, neither of them spoke. In fact, they were waiting for the other to speak first. However, neither of them spoke, and so they just waited. In actuality, Yi Hua didn't expect that Qinya would actually love him to the point that she would commit suicide. What a foolish woman. Why did she have to pretend to be cold and aloof? Qinya also didn't expect that Yi Hua would complain in front of her sister. Aren't you a cold and aloof cultivator? You just like to act cool. Along the way, the two of them arrived at a people's hospital. Qinya had already arranged everything, and all that was left was to wait for the examination. Yi Hua was naturally going to accompany this foolish woman. Yi Hua really wanted to tell the others that just now, This fool went to commit suicide because of me. And right now, he still has that cold and arrogant look on his face. This is too amusing. And when Qingye saw that the other women were looking at Yi Hua as if they were infatuated, she really wanted to tell them, "You all don't need to look at him anymore. This idiot has already fallen in love with me, and is unable to extricate himself." Seeing that Qingye was going to get a checkup, Yi Hua didn't follow her into the hospital. In actuality, he didn't really like this place. The hospital had an unpleasant smell to it. He walked out of the building and strolled around. He was in a good mood. At the side of the people's hospital, there were a lot of elderly people who had set up stalls, and all of them claimed to be half immortals. "This handsome brother, do you want to have your fortune read? Don't go. How about having your fortune read? Your future can also be read too. This little brother, I have top-notch not falling pills here. I guarantee that you will be able to enjoy yourself every night." Boring humans, to use this kind of method to deceive their own kind. They are really hypocritical. Selling medicine. Selling medicine. All of these are miracle pills that have been blessed. 5 RMB for one pill. Eating one pill guarantees to prolong one's life. If it's ineffective, I will refund you. If you buy 2 pills, you will also get a lollipop pill for free. A bald little monk could be seen shouting madly, and the surrounding half-immortals who had set up stalls immediately revealed a gaze of disdain. But the little monk didn't mind in the slightest. Yi Hua felt that the little monk was rather interesting. Those pills that were placed on the cloth were emitting out a faint fragrance, and ordinary people naturally wouldn't be able to sense it. "Big sister, quickly come over. There is a cute little monk over there." "Little sister, slow down." The 2 cute little girls ran towards the little monk's stall from behind Yi Hua, and when the little monk saw the 2 beauties coming to his stall, his small eyes immediately started shining. Yi Hua walked over slowly. Of course, he wasn't going to the stall. Those pills were not enough to enter his eyes, and he was just passing by. After all, there was only one path. However, the little monk who was currently flirting with the 2 girls wrinkled his brows, as he felt an evil aura coming towards him. Raising his head, he looked towards Yi Hua who was walking over. That faint evil aura was emitted out from this man's body. I didn't expect that I would meet a monster right after coming down from the mountain. My luck is not just ordinary. Slaying monsters is my master's aim, and of course, it is also my aim as well. Let me use my fiery golden eyes to see just what kind of monster you are. The little monk's eyeballs immediately turned golden, and ordinary people naturally wouldn't be able to sense it. F***CK, it is actually a skeleton monster. Good fellow. I just happened to let the lollipop see some blood. Skeletons don't seem to have blood. I wonder if they have bone marrow or not. Yi Hua felt the little monk's unusual movement, and he became very curious. This little monk actually possesses such a profound technique. How did he obtain it? Let's go back. A familiar voice came from behind, and Yi Hua turned his head around to take a look. So it turns out that Qingye came over to look for me, and this silly woman still said that she doesn't care. However, right at this moment, the little monk cried out in fear. He didn't even want the medicinal pellets that were on the stall and immediately ran away, as if he had seen a ghost. Yi Hua originally wanted to ask about the origin of that technique, but since the other person had already run away, he couldn't be bothered to chase after him. Big sister, that little monk is so cute. Why did he run away? Who knows, maybe his scam was exposed by us, and he felt embarrassed to continue staying here. Sigh, big sister, let's go. The little monk who was running away even had the heart to cry. The bottom of the mountain is too scary. The top of the mountain is still the safest. Master, when are you coming back? Your disciple has seen a big secret. At the start, the little monk's fiery golden eyes were indeed looking at Yi Hua. But following Qingye's shout, the little monk's gaze shifted over, and immediately, he was scared witless and immediately ran away. As for what he saw, only the little monk himself knew. Qingye's expression was ice cold. I just finished checking, and this fellow actually disappeared. He kept saying that children are important, but in the end, I don't even know where he went. However, not knowing why, Qingye just felt that Yi Hua was strolling at the side door. When she went out to take a look, it was indeed as she had expected. We are both cultivators. Yet he still came here to have his fortune read so childishly. How was the result? Yihua asked faintly. Normal. Qingye replied faintly. Those who didn't know might even think that the two of them had a grudge against each other. I already said it yesterday night. Qingye didn't say anything, and the two of them returned back to the residence. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.